Okay, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome to the third Online Scotch Whisky Awards. I hope you're all doing very well. I hope you're getting comfortable. I hope you're getting settled in for a bit of a night. We are about to have a bit of a night. Of course, before I welcome in my partner in crime and co-host for this evening, Ralfy, I'm going to just take you through quickly what this is all about and frame it for the rest of the evening. But tonight what we're going to do is go through 9 categories that celebrate the things that people in the Scotch whisky community are enjoying. And that's very, very important. The OSWAs are the Online Scotch Whisky Awards. Now, that doesn't mean that we only award Scotch whiskies, of course not, no, but it does mean that it's representative of what the Scotch whisky community is enjoying. I hope that makes sense. So we will look at other things outside of Scotch, but you have to look at it through the lens and perspective of a Scotch whisky drinker. That's what these awards are all about. So throughout tonight, what's going to happen is we will share with you what you have voted for. Ralfy and I are mere messengers this evening, and we're excited to share everything that the public have decided deserves to be the best. How this operates is that we, as a core contributors, get together every year to generate a set of nominations. And then that set core contributors put those nominations out to a bigger pool of contributors. This year it was 65. And they refine and they push back and they nudge and they vote for what they decide are the nominations, what the nominations are going to be. Throughout that process, that gives us 6 nominations for each of 9 categories that goes out to public voting. That this year it was live from the 23rd of September until the 22nd of October. And that was a full month of public voting in order for everybody to decide what they're enjoying over the 9 categories. It's all done and dusted. Everything's been locked down for a couple of weeks now, and it's just a case of trying to get everybody together to celebrate what you voted for, to celebrate what these results are. And throughout tonight, we're going to share all of them with you. I'm excited. I'm comfortable. And I hope you are too. Let's bring in my co-host, and I'll see you in a second.
Cheers to you guys at the Online Scottish Whisky Awards and everybody who helped make this possible. Thanks, Ralfy. Thanks, Roy.
Cheers.
Cheers to the OSWAs from the guys at Honest Non-Malt, myself, Mike, and Duncan.
Yeah, enjoy it. We'll be watching.
Hopefully you're having a wonderful evening.
Hopefully.
Cheers, everyone, from Malt Reviews. Just want to say congratulations to all the nominees. Great new distilleries. Great blends this year. And let's find out who's going to win Scotch Whisky of the Year. Just want to say thank you to all the contributors and, of course, the voters. Let's keep this going. Cheers.
There we go.
Here we go. Again, Roy, I get cheers.
Cheers to you,
right,
chap.
so just
Cheers
before,
to you.
just to let you know, you've got a bit of cork in your whiskey there.
Yeah, I brought out one of my finest Highland malt whiskies to share with Ralfy tonight, and the cork starting to struggle a wee bit and fall apart, but it doesn't get in the way.
You're spoiling me, Roy, as you always do, with these fine little array in your luxurious, I have to say, because it's way ahead of the Bothy, which has got mouldy walls and everything. But here in the Akvavit luxurious whiskey parlour, you have got some very exotic whiskies, which I've noticed in passing, but never got round to investing in. However, there's plenty of time for that because we're pushing on with the OSWAs, the Online Scotch Whisky Awards 2023. I'm Ralphie. This is Roy. We're your hosts, and you are the whisky community. Roy, tell them all about it.
This is our third year running. We're excited. We're starting to feel a wee bit like we know what we're doing now, but we're still a wee bit.
Are you?
So, well, we know the run through. We've got the support of lots of people behind the scenes helping us out.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're going to be able to pull off another reasonable session. Just let me know that the audio is working tonight. We've been plagued by audio with this thing, and because I tear apart the usual setup in order to do this for the OSWAs, but hopefully everything is working fine and you can hear us. You don't really need to see us, right? You're not here for the aesthetic, but you're certainly perhaps here for the information. So as long as you can hear tonight, that would be pretty good if we've managed to do that.
So far, so good, Roy. Everything's fine.
Yes.
And
yes.
I tell you what, we've just before we started the show, we're just looking over all the contributors and all the guests that we've got appearing. It's a fabulous lineup, and we've had such tremendous support from our OSWA backup team, and we're going to give them good credit later in the show, Roy.
Yeah, to Rob and to Chuck. Yeah, absolutely. And just what we realise here is that there's a huge undertaking. There's a lot of work that goes on here. And despite what a lot of people might think, there is no money. There's no money coming into this whatsoever. Ralphie and I fund this ourselves right now. And that means that when these people come on to support us, they're not getting anything either.
Yeah.
But Ralphie and I do look after them too in our own way.
Absolutely.
But they know the amount of hours that's gone into this. Chuck every day on the social media doing the grind and drumming up interest and keeping people informed about what's happening. And the absolute superhero of Rob Halford this year has been incredible. The amount of assets that he's prepared for me, the amount of behind the scenes structuring and administration that he's done.
Yeah.
And more than anything, his creative eye and his
Absolutely.
ability to take something that exists and give it a bit of polish to make it a wee bit better.
Absolutely.
Chuck and Rob, thank you both.
Chuck and Rob, thank you both. You've been fantastic. And by the way, I want to also give credit mention, Roy, to your Patreon supporters and to my Patreon supporters who are part of the whisky community, who in contributing to us on our Patreon channels are financing this entire thing. There is no finance coming from the whisky industry. The OSWAs are completely autonomous and representative in the fullest possible way of the democratic process. And Roy is going to present this to you in some detail as the show goes on. So make yourselves comfortable. I'm sure you've poured a dram already. We certainly have.
Yes.
And
it's a nice one too.
Absolutely. It's delightful. And I'm going to shut up now and let you get on with it, Roy.
Well, what I'm going to do quickly is take you through a couple of things just before we get started. We've got maybe 1 or 2 minutes before we bring in our first guest and kick things off. But I want to let you look under the hood a little bit and see what's been refined this year. Okay. Welcome, everybody. I can't believe it, the third time round.
Yes.
Quite quickly.
This has happened twice before, and we're in the unique position where we now have pedigree, and we now have sequences and patterns, and we now have not just one reflection of the online community, whisky passionate sentiment, opinion, and values, but we have it for 3 consecutive years now. So we're getting a very interesting picture of how things are morphing and developing, which I'm sure will be particularly valuable to the Scotch whisky industry and other whisky makers around the world.
Yeah, it's not just valuable to people who are coming into whiskey and wondering what to buy.
Yeah.
It's also, I think, anybody that's running a business or a company, I think this would be a nice dose of feedback for anybody to receive when you're trying to refine a product too.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's take you through the refinements for this year and let you know the size and scale of things for this year. Some of you might have heard of the idea of an Online Scotch Whisky Awards trifecta. It's basically a hat trick. And we've brought this about because we can see a need for this. We can also see a desire to continue to celebrate the absolute best. So what we have brought about is a concept where if a producer or a product manages to secure 3 wins in a category in consecutive years, they get a very, very special award. And that award is a trifecta award.
I shall show you an example of it right now. If we got it in front, I'll get it straightened up a bit. There we are. That's it. Is the lens picking up the?
Well, if we'd put it in a frame, it would have reflected, made it even worse. But it doesn't matter. People know that these exist. However, for this year, for 2023, none of these awards will be given out. Why? Because we've only just made. This is our 3rd year. We were approaching our 3rd year, so before we announced the trifecta, before the public voting commenced, we could feel that there's potentially going to be a need for it, because if people are genuinely the best of the best and they've been nominated 3 years in a row, there's a good chance they could potentially win it 3 years in a row as well.
Yes.
So we've put that in place. But when we award the trifecta, the recipient has to sit out for that year to see how the votes would then be sprinkled, to see how the votes would be shared amongst those who are still in the running. It's going to be very, very interesting to see. But rather than put them on the naughty step, rather than punish somebody for being amazing, we want to bring them on in 2024 and say, this is your trifecta.
Yeah.
This is an incredible achievement. You have managed this 3 years in a row. And we need to be able to celebrate that with you. So that's happening this year.
Yeah, and it's very, very telling as to the success of distilleries who absolutely get the formula right, and importantly, simply connect with the people who are passionate about whiskey. That's us.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Good. This year, who has voted? We always like to give you a wee look under the hood here. We like to let you know the size and the scale of these things. 4,600 registrants. That's 4,600 people registered to participate and vote in the OSWAs this year, and 99% of them have self-referred as Scotch lovers. That tells us now 4,600 to the eagle-eyed out there. That's 200 registrants down on last year. Why? Well, let's see how things spread out tonight. It's going to be very, very interesting. Ralphie and I realised that we had to keep the language pointed at the Scotch whisky community. So all of these Facebook groups and subreddits and huge everything that are out there that are not focused on Scotch whisky but other whiskies, that's not where we want to play. We want to represent what the Scotch whisky community is enjoying in order to allow experts in bourbon, experts in Japanese, experts in Irish whiskey, people that can come forward and put together their own initiative. I said experts there, I meant enthusiasts.
Yeah, that's
people who have got. For me, I don't know about you, Ralphie, but I like bourbon. I enjoy a bourbon.
Absolutely.
But it's not our comfort zone.
And let's not forget, Roy, that enthusiasts can be expert in their enthusiasm.
Yeah, expertise isn't. Yeah, that's true as well. So we've been very, very targeted this year, and I think that plays out when you see the rest of the stats. Anyway, let's look at this. Yeah. This is the 0.26% and the 0.65%, less than 1% of people who bothered to register for some unknown reason, only to declare that they're either drive-by Scotch drinkers or they avoid completely. That's not who we are after. The people that we are after are promiscuous Scotch whisky drinkers. What does that mean? People that are not tied to one style of whisky, one profile, or one brand, but they're just generally into all types of whisky. Flavour chasers, basically. 21% of our community describe themselves as such. People that are into pure Scotch, and I would hazard more than that. I would suggest a guess towards the fact that they are also single malt drinkers. 18% declared themselves as pure Scotch lovers. But look at this, 60%, 2,767 of the registered participants would call themselves Scotch promiscuous. What does that mean? They love Scotch whisky. They're in it for Scotch whisky, probably Scotch single malt, but they are open and adaptable, and they chase flavour. They're into things generally. So our audience is spot on.
Yes, and it means that the OSWAs is the right format and the right sort of magnet to attract the attention of the people to whom the OSWAs are directed.
That's right. How did that vote spread happen? This is a really interesting thing. So we've lost about 200 registrants since 2022 to 2023. But in 2021, we had 18,000 votes cast. In 2022, we had 32,000 votes cast, more or less. In 2023, we've got 45,000 votes. Now, that tells me a couple of things. It tells me that our audience is more engaged.
Yeah.
It tells us that we've managed to access more Scotch whisky lovers who are in a better place to give information, to cast a meaningful vote on something that they love. But it also tells me, I think, that the nominations this year have been a wee bit more exciting.
Not only that, but the OSWAs are proving themselves as a format in attracting the attention of the Scotch whisky enthusiast globally, giving them the confidence to feel that they're participating in something genuinely meaningful and influential towards the Scotch whisky industry. And that is definitely a good thing.
Let's see how those votes spread
over
the 9 categories. This is going to be interesting for everyone to see. It's certainly very interesting for Ralphie and I to see. Even although we guessed this to be the case, when we see the numbers play out, it's reassuring to see that our predictions of these things are correct. These are our 9 categories: best value, best blended malt, best non-malt whiskey, best distillery, best new distillery, best independent bottler, best world whiskey, and best Scotch whiskey. Now that looks to me like a big capital E there. The first category's got huge engagement with 6,600 votes cast. The middle one, best distillery, over 6,000. Best Scotch whiskey, the last one, over 6,000. And the ones in between, we know that there is less engagement here. But that doesn't mean that we don't look here, because we can't just celebrate single malt Scotch whisky. It needs to be all Scotch whisky. We can't just celebrate all Scotch whisky. We need to celebrate all whisky that we like to enjoy, that we like to drink as part of a Scotch whisky community.
Yes.
And if there was only Scotch whisky, the quality would decline pretty fast, if we're honest. It has to maintain its quality, and we will, despite the fact that we see lower engagement here. One of them here, best world whiskey here, that's the lowest. It's slipped below 4,000 participants there. That tells us that it's the Scotch whisky community that we're speaking to here.
Yes.
But we also enjoy dalliances with world whiskey, and that will continue to be represented in the Online Scotch Whisky Awards.
Yeah.
That's our vote spread for this year. Okay, Ralphie, I don't know how you're feeling, but I know that we've got folk in the background ready and waiting.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's kick this thing off, shall we?
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it.
Hola, soy Manuel de Cultura del Whisky y quiero brindar por los premios OSWAS 2023, los primeros premios independientes para reconocer a los mejores whiskies del mundo. También quiero enviar un afectuoso saludo a todos los colaboradores, a Ralfy, a Roy, por hacer esto posible. Salud desde México.
Hi, I'm John from Just Whiskey. Thank you so much, Roy and Ralphie, for the 3rd round of the Online Scotch Whisky Awards 2023. Remember, folks, it's just whiskey. Cheers.
Hi everyone, this is Emma Briones from Todo Whiskey. Thank you for voting and for making these awards something that we can all enjoy and make it for the people. Salud.
Fantastic stuff. Thanks to everybody who's contributed a wee video.
Wonderful.
Segments.
And do you know, I think these segments add so much to the OSWAs.
Yeah, well, it gives us a sense of the diversity. It gives you a sense of the reach, the global nature of it. We might be two Scottish guys, specifically Glaswegian Scottish guys, talking about whiskey in a wee place in Glasgow, right? But the internet sees no borders.
Yes.
Scotch whisky doesn't see any borders either, and we all like to come together to enjoy it. And I think that it's all very well seen the names and the credits of everybody participating, but when we can see the face and hear the voice,
yes,
fantastic.
A growing passion in a shrinking world, Roy.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Thank you. I just thought that up in the spot there.
Well, let's get on to our first category tonight. This is by far the most popular category. It's a big banger to start with, I would say, and that is our Best Value Whiskey 2023. I have to say, I am always excited about this one. With very few exceptions, all the nominations over the years have been fantastic recommendations.
Yeah.
There isn't a foot placed wrong in this category, in Roy's own personal opinion here whatsoever. Yeah. What do we talk about with Best Value Whiskey? This is where we celebrate whiskies that are attainable despite the continually rising prices that we face. They continue to offer enjoyment for experienced drinkers, and they're good recommendations for those taking their first steps, those that are reluctant to spend a lot of money on a bottle of whiskey, perhaps.
Yeah.
The people that are still in their exploratory days. We have changed it since the first inaugural in OSWAs the last 2 years. We have not given any guiding on price. It is down to your own interpretation of what provides value wherever you are from.
Yeah.
I'm going to reach over to our first guest announcer. What would we call these folk? Announcers, I guess.
What's the combination of multi-commentators?
I don't know.
Multommentator? No.
Brave folk. Let's call them brave folk
Yeah.
who have stepped forward to help us in this wee project. I'm going to go over to Taiwan to my pal, Jeff from G Whiskey. Hello, my friend. How are you doing?
Cheers, guys. How we doing?
Hello, Jeff.
Cheers, Roy. Cheers, Ralphie.
Nice to see you, buddy. Nice to see you. Can I ask, just for giggles, what time is it where you are, my friend?
Right now in Taiwan, it is 2:24 a.m.
I've got to raise a glass to
Got to
this.
raise a glass to that. My goodness.
Thank
I'll
you so
tell
much.
you what. Last time I did the V Pub with Roy, that was Thursday night for you, Friday night, and I had work the next day. But this is a Saturday night, so big event. Happy to be here. I'd probably be awake anyway.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can I take a minute to blow a wee bit of wind up your skirt, Jeff? I know that you've only been around for a couple of years now, and you've already made a huge impact, and I want to say a positive contribution to Scotch whisky. And I'm not just talking about on your platform on YouTube. I'm talking about for everybody that you reach out there that's listening to your thoughts and your recommendations and your critical assessment of whisky. You've become more and more humorous and entertainment as time goes on. And it's always a pleasure for me to kick back and watch a G Whiskey video. It's brilliant stuff, and it's brilliant to have you as part of the community, my friend.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Right.
Even Ralphie's admitted that he watches you as well.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
The honor. Honor me flattered.
My friend, do you have a wee red envelope for us? Well, let me ask you before we go into that. It's not just about the time zone. I think this is a category that's close to your heart, is it not?
Absolutely. I mean, best value whiskey, that's something that I think a lot of people, when they tune into the OSWAs every year, kind of hone in on. That's definitely one that I hone in on in particular. Nobody likes overspending. We're looking for good quality, and we're looking for good prices. So, I mean, it's those two things coming together. It is the big one. And at least in my mind, it's the big one.
I like listening to your scoring, and you'll attenuate the scoring up and down based on how much you feel the whiskey has lived up to the price you pay for it, right?
Yeah.
I let it factor in. I do, yeah, because I think for a lot of people, price is a factor. Obviously, the biggest thing is the quality of the whiskey, but if you're overpaying, that hurts the overall experience because speaking personally, if I have something that's really expensive, even if I thoroughly enjoy it, there's almost a little bit of guilt every time it goes down, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a factor. It is a factor.
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. Fantastic. When you're ready, please take it away.
All right, let's do it. So the nominations for the 2023 Online Scotch Whisky Awards in the category of Best Value Whiskey are as follows. Ardnamurchan AD, Arran 10-year-old, Bruichladdich Classic Laddie, Kilkerran 12-year-old, Leipzig 10-year-old, and Port Charlotte 10-year-old. So I'll just pop this open.
Big drum roll now.
Pause for dramatic effect. And our winner is Arran 10-year-old.
Again.
Oh my goodness.
The trifecta. Our first
trifecta zone, yeah.
Yeah.
You're switched on. You're absolutely switched on. You know then that this is Aaron's third consecutive year winning this category. It's quite something. I was having a discussion about this recently, about its success in the first 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat with someone and the two of us had a long discussion to try and find a whiskey that replaced it. Objectively is impossible, but even subjectively trying to find things that could replace that magic formula that Aaron has seemed to provide. All natural whiskey, telling us it's all natural, 10-year-old age statement, delicious flavor, 46% ABV, reasonable price point, and available pretty much all over the place everywhere.
And then
it's very difficult.
Absolutely.
To
and then finally, they don't impose the experience in the brand. They present it. They allow us to reach forward and engage with Aaron under our own context and our own reference values, and in particular the consistency from batch to batch to batch, particularly of the 10-year-old, has been very, very commendable over a considerable period of time. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I've had, I don't even know how many Arran 10s I've had over the years, but one thing I'll say is this: it's consistent in quality, even though I do find it quite batchy. So I've had Arrans that are heavier on the sherry, lighter on the sherry, somewhere in between. And for the most part, they've all, well, not pretty much consistently, we'll say consistently, they've all been good. So you're getting different whiskeys, but you're getting a base level of quality that's consistent throughout, that's commendable. We don't see that too much.
Yeah. Perfect. Jeff, thank you so much for stepping forward. Thank you for your contributions and your support in the background as well. And we both wish you all the success with the channel going forward.
Yeah. Cheers.
Thank you, Jeff. Cheers to you.
Cheers, fellas.
Thank you.
So all we need now, Ralphie, is we need somebody from Aaron willing to step forward.
I mean, do you think they've got anybody handy on a Saturday evening?
Well, all the VIPs at Aaron were busy, so we had to just reach out to our pal.
So they've run out of VIP, so we've got Andy again. How about Andy's a VIP? He's VIP enough. I know he's not made much of an effort with the dressing up for the occasion. There's no bow tie or anything. He looks like he's chilling out in front of the telly, actually waiting for some sort of
I think
entertainment. And here we are.
Yeah, we're the entertainment. I think you have dressed perfectly, absolutely appropriately for tonight, Andy. As just much like your whiskey is presented.
People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, Ralphie.
Well, I'm just being cheeky because you know, I am.
Andy, congratulations, my friend. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
You weren't here to accept this last year. It was Stuart, the distillery manager at Locranza, of course, that stepped forward to accept last year's award. But you stepped forward in 2021 to accept an award twice, because in 2021, the inaugural OSWAs, you not only won Best Value Whiskey back then, you won Best Scotch Whisky. Mm-hmm. You must be chuffed.
Of course. It's to always complete the Glaswegian trifecta here. I could say, yeah, beauty. It is fantastic. I can't, in one hand, we're in disbelief that we've managed to pull this off again in the most voted for category. But kind of on the other, it's kind of silent vindication of a philosophy that we've always had, which is just offer good dram for a good price. And that is the formula that you were talking about, Ralphie. I think what you can see in all the producers, and they are fabulous producers that are in this category, they're all walking this line between price and flavour, and they're walking it perfectly. They're all, every single one of those whiskies is offering excellent flavour for a good price. And by the way, value doesn't mean cheap. It's all about making sure that the whiskey is living up to its price. And as I said, that is our kind of MO, and it's nice to be validated in it, to be quite honest.
Yeah. And tell me, Andy, where does Aaron go from here? Is it simply keeping the secret sauce, the recipe, the treading the tightrope between value and cost and quality, or do you have something else that you see as innovative?
Well, I think if we were smart, we wouldn't change the formula, because we've proven that it works. Certainly, where this 10-year-old's concerned, it seems to be hitting the money. So I don't see why we would change that, and there's no plans to do so. The thing that I think most of your viewers will be happy to hear is that there are absolute plans to bring the 14-year-old back in the next 2 or 3 years. So at last,
hallelujah!
I was going to say
with a refill focus, I hope. So
yeah, well, this stock gap that we were kind of getting over with that product seems to be kind of moving behind us now to a point. So we're hearing the desire for the 14-year-old to return, and it was always a staff favourite too. So in good time that'll be back, and hopefully we can try and
how much time is a good time? How much time is a good time?
In good time. So I'm thinking maybe 2 years. I can't remember exactly. It's either 2 years or 3. I can't remember, but it's coming back in whiskey terms. That's the near future.
Well, I was hoping for it a wee bit sooner, but good things come to those who wait.
Right. We will have to wait.
We'll just have to wait. We'll just have to wait. I have another question for you. Will you step forward in 2024 for this category, even though you're not permitted to participate, and accept your trifecta award live on next year's Online Scotch Whisky Awards?
Well, I don't see why not. I'll complete my own trifecta of appearances in the OSWAs.
Yes, that's right. It's brilliant. I have to say, I'm going to share, Andy, a wee bit in just a minute or so, how you managed to win it, what the vote split was and things like that. And I'll also share what the People's Choice was on the category as well. But it's clearly a very, very popular formula. It's just a great whiskey. It's a perma shelf item here for me as well. It's always around. It's always available. And as Jeff was in Taiwan was quite rightly saying there, it's malt whiskey. Batch variation is part of the package.
Absolutely.
As long as that baseline of quality is met. And I think Aaron and its 10-year-old has certainly done that.
Certainly the idea.
Andy Bell and all the team at Elevaran Distillers.
Cheers.
We want to hear more from you in the future. Congratulations. Cheers.
And thank you for joining us this evening.
Oh, what a pleasure. What a pleasure.
All the best. Well done, everyone. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Amazing. 3 in a row.
Yeah.
The trifecta turned out to be a good idea.
It certainly has turned out to be a good idea, Roy, because we are simply delivering democracy here. This isn't a panel of experts where we can sort of say, right, it's somebody else's turn and it's another distillery's should get a little bit more of the spotlight. We are simply delivering what is transparently and tangibly a democratic process. And we have to abide by the results we get from all the people around the world who have committed the time and the resources and the research as well to providing us with their votes.
Yep, absolutely. You could only place a vote if you had a meaningful, if you felt that you knew that whiskey, it was one that you would buy or rebuy yourself and you would recommend to a friend. Let's see who those folk were. Let's see how what they voted on. We want to be as transparent as possible, so we want to show you how many people voted in the category and how many people choose choose to no vote in some categories. So you can see here that 2% of the voters here chose to no vote. And that's really valuable because they are saying, okay, these are ubiquitous whiskies. They're available everywhere. These are value whiskies. But I don't feel that my experience is here or my favorite is here. I'm going to skip this. And perhaps, hopefully, they've put something in a people's choice instead. But they have had the ability. Now, this is by far the highest participation that we're going to see tonight. That 2% is the lowest number you'll see. This is the most popular category. At number 6 is taken by Bruichladdich, Classic Laddie, with 9% of the vote. Number 5 is Ardnamurchan's AD with 13% of the vote. A brand new whiskey.
Yes.
Number 4, Port Charlotte. Bruichladdich stablemate Port Charlotte, 10-year-old, 17% of the vote. Fan favourite, much, much loved by so many people these days.
And a fairly recent introduction to the whiskey community from Bruichladdich Distillery.
Port Charlotte 10 is the de facto guardian of Islay these days. It really is.
I would agree with you in that respect, yeah. For heavily peated, yeah.
Yeah. Ledaig 10 coming in third place with 18% of the vote from Tobermory Distillery. Fantastic stuff. A fan favourite, people's favourite, and we can see how popular it's been over the course of the 3 years of the OSWAs. Second place, just missing out, Kilkerran 12, with 18% of the vote. Just a nudge, just a nose ahead of Ledaig. And obviously, Arran enjoying 23% of the vote with 1,534 registrants choosing to vote for Arran.
So it's not like a split decision here, Roy. Arran is the clear number one favourite and has earned it. And it's continuity. It's continuity of endorsement from the whiskey fans to distilleries who are getting it right.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I know a lot of people enjoy this part. I have to say, this is one of my favourite parts of the Online Scotch Whisky Awards, because this is completely random. This is not, we as contributors, as reviewers, as commentators, as guides in whiskey, we have not taken any part in this. We have not stepped forward to feed you with potential nominations for things for you to consider. This is your wild card. You can put in anything you like, and I love to see what comes out. We don't present this as an award. This is a top 10 chart. Let's get on with it. Coming in at a joint number 9 is Ledaig 10 and Port Charlotte 10, the ones we've just been speaking about. 2 Peters to kick things off, 2 Hebridean Peters. I would have to say, well, West Coast Scotland, both island distilleries, Islay and Tobermory, of course, from Mull. Fantastic whiskies, fully natural and enjoyed by so many people. Ledaig has slipped down quite a bit this year, and I don't want to offer an explanation for that until you see the rest of this chart. It's still in the top 10, still highly enjoyed. Also, Port Charlotte has suffered a wee bit this year. What's caused that? Let's go on. Coming in at 8th position, we've got our stalwart from Campbelltown, Kilkerran 12. Also slipped down the charts, but holding firm, only lost a place, and at number 8 this year. Fantastic stuff. Then we've got joint position 6 here with 2 relatively new entries. Ardnamurchan AD has only been around since 2020, and yet it seems to be getting spoken about more and more. It seems to be an enthusiast favourite, and people just love it, can't seem to get enough of it. Kilchoman Sanic has come from nowhere, and this is setting the heather alight in 2023. Kilchoman Sanic is a real thing to look out for.
Yeah.
It's not the cheapest, I would say. It's about £70, £75, £65, I think, maybe 60, 65. But the quality speaks for itself, and people consider this, even at that price point, great value. So that's 2 new entries in at number 6. There's Arran 10. Slipped down again along with the Kilkerran, Port Charlotte and Ledaig 10. Don't read too much into this. This is still a very, very popular product with the people. Deanston 12, again, slipped down 3 points. something is happening at the top of this chart.
Something is happening.
Something's happening.
But it's lovely, Roy, to see Deanston there.
Still there, yes.
Still there, because Deanston is a fantastic whiskey, which unfortunately it just seems to, it tends to get this kind of lack of noise about it. And yet, particularly the value for money in the UK for Deanston 12-year-old and the integrity of its presentation, it's a fantastic whiskey, and many other versions of Deanston are as well. But as you say, there seems to be all these whiskies
slipping down.
Many of them are kind of slipping down the popularity poll. It must be quite a slidey poll, this one.
We've got a fan favourite. Deanston 12 is one of your fan favourites. It's one of mine. There's lots of Deanstons on that shelf behind us there. We love it. Here's another one, another fan favourite, Glencairn 10. And this has jumped up a place to number 3. Fantastic whiskey, solid, still great value. It's wonderful to see it recognised. And then in second place, jumping up 5 places, you know, people are really starting to get to grips with Craigellachie's 13-year-old. I think it's always been solid, but I think it's arguably getting a wee bit better these days.
I would go even further than that, Roy. I think it is the beginning of a Craigellachie cult.
Well, I'd say that when you look at Speyside, given the amount of distilleries that are there, it's amazing how few make it into the OSWAs.
It is, yes.
So it's wonderful to see such praise for a Speyside whiskey, and it's a good one, fully natural, 13-year-old as well, reasonable value for money too.
Really.
So what makes it? What's missing, Ralphie? What's not there? Of course, you know what it is. You're shouting from it. You're shouting it from your sofas right now. It's of course Bunnahabhain's 12-year-old. I want to point out that I'm sharing what the number one in the charts, how many votes that it garnered in its own right, and how close it is. Literally, I was trying to get everybody to vote right up to the very last minute and encourage them to put in their people's choice, because 1 and 2 votes were separating positions here, even up at the winning space. Craigellachie was literally pipped at the post. It was quite incredible to see. There we have it. That's the people's choice for the value whiskies for 2023. We've still got a lot of things to get through, so let's push on.
Hello everyone, this is Drams on Deck. I want to give a special shout out to Roy, Ralfy at the OSWAs. They're doing great things. Big ups to their award show and much more success, man. I'm glad to be a part of the celebration. I'm looking forward to it. Right now I'm in the out of town movement. I'm buying bottles and toasting. But shout out to Roy, Ralfy, OSWAs. Looking forward to the big celebration, y'all. Stay tuned. Thanks.
Hi everyone, hope you're enjoying the OSWAs. Cheers to Roy and Ralfy for putting on such an amazing show, and cheers to you all for continuing to watch and raise the profile of whiskey online everywhere. Again, cheers.
Welcome to Canfi Planet. I'm Mac, wishing all of you watching the OSWAs a very happy OSWAs. It is an honour to be part of these awards created by the whiskey community for the whiskey community. With me, I have last year's blended whiskey winner, Nika from the Barrel. Who'll win this year? I guess you're finding out. Until next time, Kanpai.
Thanks everybody for contributing your videos once more. Thanks guys. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Terrific. Okay, so now we move into a category that is arguably the category that built Scotch whisky over the decades. This is where we celebrate the best blended whisky. How do we refer to blended whisky? What do we mean? Well, in this category, in the context of the OSWAs, when we talk about best blended whisky, we're talking about whiskies that have recently become more exciting for enthusiasts. And I would argue that in 2023, that really started to level up. We started to see much more interesting blends being released, blends specifically pointed towards enthusiasts too. We often talk about that idea that you should be able to theoretically take whiskies, good quality whiskies, and put them together in order to make something that's better than the sum of their parts. That's what this category is about. Some of the most celebrated whiskies in the world have been blended whiskies, and this is where we celebrate those. So what we're going to do now is jump over to our next announcer guest. We need a better name for it than an announcer
guest. a malt contributor, Scotch whiskey whiskologist.
Well, we just go with just straight handsome for this one. Let's
Handsome.
Go over to the West Coast, the US, where we've got Gregor McQueen representing Dramface. Gregor, my friend, so good to see you, buddy.
Hello.
Cheers, lads. How you doing?
Oh, look. I sunglassed that, by the way.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It was picked with a theme.
Right.
Oh, it's the
yes.
Ardna glass. Yes, those are good glasses. Yes. Fantastic. And it's nice to see you sipping so early in the day and dressed up for the event too.
It's 11:45 a.m. where I am. I've got a shirt and tie on and I'm sipping whiskey. I am a professional.
But of course you're sitting there in your boxer shorts, I hope.
There's nothing below. Out of camera, there's nothing on.
Perfect. How are you, my friend? You doing well? Thank you for representing Dramface.
I'm good. Yeah. Very pleased and proud to take part in this and represent Team Dramface, of course.
You are our fantastic, wonderfully mindful, fantastic at listening podcast host. You continue to do a great job and make that whole thing run so much smoother. But of course, you're part of a much bigger team behind the scenes at Dramface, and it was hard for them to get together and put together their nominations as a unit this year. I did not take part in it.
Right.
I take part in the OSWAs under the Aquavitae banner, and I stepped fully out of the Dramface thing. So I thank you for stepping forward for that, buddy. I hope it's not going to use up too much of your day.
No,
Gregor,
all good.
Do you have a wee red envelope for us?
I do indeed.
Fantastic, you do. At your leisure, when you're ready, take it away, my friend.
Sure. The nominations for the 2023 Online Scotch Whisky Awards in the category of Best Blended Whisky are as follows. Chivas Regal, 18-year-old. Cutty Sark, Prohibition. Dewar's Double, 21-year-old. Johnny Walker, 12, Black Label. McLean's Nose, Blended.
Hey.
And Thompson Brothers, 6-year-old, Blended Scotch Whisky.
Right.
Fantastic. So we know who Greg is rooting for after showing that wee bottle there.
Not necessarily. That could be a ruse.
That could be
a decoy.
Am I good to open said envelope?
When you're ready.
Please open the envelope.
Okay, here we go. I'm pleased to announce that the winner is. Hang on.
Oh, that's a bit. What's going on here?
The winner is Thompson Brothers Blended Scotch Whisky 6-year-old. Congrats.
Hold that up for us. Let us see it. Fantastic. Superb.
Righty-o. Okay.
Congrats, gang.
A new winner.
Yeah, that is a new winner. A completely
Hang
new
on,
whiskey.
wait a minute. The fireworks show is not finished yet.
Right, you're getting full screen for it this time. Go for it.
All right, okay. Congratulations, Thompson Brothers.
Oh.
That hand gesture thing we're going to see everywhere.
Yes.
Coming ahead. But we saw it here first, Ralphie.
We did, yes.
Gregor McQueen, thank you very, very much for stepping forward. Thanks for your support. And I hope that the rest of your day is fabulous. Helped on a wee bit by that McLean's Nose, no doubt.
Indeed. Cheers now.
Fellas. Slange to you.
Cheers, lads. Thanks for all you do.
We were very welcome.
So there we go.
Thompson Brothers. Very interesting situation there. You've got two young guys who have been around the whiskey scene for a long time, because I've bumped into them in my travels, and what I noticed was very much listening to what other folk in the industry had to say and soaking it up like a sponge.
Yes.
And I think that when you look at the fact that they've taken on the challenge of setting up Dornoch Distillery, they are playing an absolute master game by bringing out these teaser quality whiskies, which are brave bottling decisions. And you can't make these decisions unless you've got access to the stock. But they're accepting the challenge. They're being really brave about it. You've got the 6-year-old blend. You've got the 8-year-old blended malt. And also, you've got people absolutely raving about some of their independent bottling. So they're acting as independent bottlers as well as having their own single malt distillery. So some really interesting things happening there, and they're connecting wonderfully well with the customers, with the malt faithful, with a
Well, we were just full disclosure. We were expecting Simon or Phil to step forward and join us this evening.
Yes,
we've been noticing a window popping up and dropping out, and popping up and dropping out. I wonder if they're having some technical difficulties. We were expecting one or two of the brothers to step forward and join us tonight.
Yes.
But perhaps they might make themselves a wee bit available a wee bit later. What it does for us now, Ralphie, is it allows us to catch up a wee bit with schedule, because we can run through this the stats on this category. In the hope that the boys can get their technical side sorted out.
And if they do join us, we'll certainly be happy to let them in for a wee brief chat.
Whenever it is, if you can sort out whatever issue is caused at that side, I'll keep my eye out for I pointed out to Ralphie there the window popping in and out, and I couldn't tell what it was. Anyway, let's go forward with this. Best Blended Whisky Winner 2023. Huge segment of no votes on this one. Why? Because as Ralphie and I have already talked about earlier in the OSWAs and in previous OSWAs, this shows us two things. That our audience is focused on malt whiskey. We know this to be the case. But what it also shows us is that if people don't have a meaningful contribution to make, they're comfortable simply skipping. And that is what we want to encourage. Coming in at number 6 on the votes, we've got Chivas Regal's 18-year-old. Coming in at number 5, we've got Dewar's Double Double with 8% of the vote. Now, this is an anomaly in the Dewar's Double Double. This is a very, very popular and well-priced product in Canada right now, which is why it's made it through.
Yeah.
So you've got 21-year-old whiskey at very reasonable prices and other age statements too on the Double Double, and people are connecting with it. Naturally presented, 46% as well, which is strange for a blend. So people are lapping it up in the market that it's available. But of course, when it comes to the big arena, when it comes to voting for the favourite, it was only able to make number 5. And we kind of finish our trio of kind of, let's say, recognizable blend brands, Chivas Regal, Dewar's, and Johnnie Walker, with the black label coming in at 8% of the vote as well. So what did take the votes on this one? Well, this is a sleeper whiskey. People still need to discover this. Cutty Sark's Prohibition at 50% ABV is an absolute steal right now. Fantastic whiskey. A great price. You can relax about it, as you can sip it, enjoy it as a mixer, whatever it is. Just fantastic stuff. And long may it continue. At number 2, McLean's Nose, the one that Gregor held up there. A brand new product. This was only released in the start of 2023.
Yes, with virtually no marketing fanfare, no big push, no advertising, no nothing. The reason McLean's Nose is there, Roy, is because of the online influence. It's the fact that as a brand, it's being picked up by just a few people within the whiskey scene, and then they're messaging it out there. They're regarded as authoritative, informed, and reliable opinion, and then other people are discovering what amazing quality this is and what amazing value, depending where you can access it. But I've bought a bottle, and it's absolutely...
Well, this is the thing. This is the hot take, isn't it? Because it's all very well for for onliners to talk, but the reason we're talking about it is because we're excited about it, because it's a great whiskey at a great price.
It is,
and it reinvigorates. It gives a shot of adrenaline into a category that's been dull, boring, bottom shelf oftentimes. And I'm sorry to be
steady on, Roy.
The blend category has needed for a long time. Since Bailey Nickel Jarvie disappeared.
Correct.
And we were kind of a wee bit upset about that, because that was a decent, but it was still a low ABV blend.
Yeah.
The blends have just been this formulaic, dull. And I'm sorry that's not what's bringing people into drinking and sipping and contemplating and approaching whiskey in a completely different way. It's not, blends are the bulk, we don't want to be rude about blends. That's why we have given them a category.
Mhm.
What we want to do is celebrate blends, and there are new producers coming on board.
Yes.
That will be talked about more in the stream going forward, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that are making a difference. And look at Thompson Brothers in number one spot
Absolutely.
here. Over 1,000, actually over 1,103 votes for the TBBSW this year.
Very significant. And I think importantly, this category in the Online Scotch Whisky Awards well and truly leaves the door open for any distillery to reinvent, recreate, redefine, reinvigorate, and revitalize the traditional blend of single malt and grain, which most certainly can be done. And it's testament to Thompson Brothers and McLean's Nose from Ardnamurchan that they are really taking the bull by the horns and making it happen, knowing we're there to spot it and talk about it
for free, because we do it. We are excited about a good product. Here's where we share with you the people's choices for blended whiskies, and this is telling for me, very telling. But anyway, this is what you put forward. These are your wild card picks, and I share them with you in the form of the chart. At number 10, Black Bottle. There are other expressions of Black Bottle coming out on the back of the success of Black Bottle, bringing much more experimental, higher ABV releases, different caskings and things like that. The people behind, it's La Martini Case, I think, it's behind Black Bottle now. They're getting quite playful with it, and it's exciting to see. In ninth place, this is a Glasgow company, Turntable Spirits. They have managed to break the top 10 people's choice with one of their releases, and I think I might be wrong, it could be last year that Turntable were launched. But regardless, the Purple Haze, this was an expensive blend, Ralphie. This was 75 pounds. And then you taste it and you think, no, it's 75 pounds worth of whiskey.
Yeah.
It was wonderful stuff. And just that idea, almost that turning, I'm not looking for a pun here, that different perspective on what blended whiskey can be.
Yes.
At number 8, we've got another fantastic release from James Eady. Their trademark X. I need to get a bottle of this.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are telling me, Roy, you need to try it. Somebody else that stepped in and said, you know what, we can do something with in the blend category. Fantastic to see it there. Billy Walker's even at it with a 15-year-old White Heather. Now, this was nominated in 2022. And that, I think, has helped to elevate it a wee bit in some people's perspectives, and it's made number 7 in the People's Choice. The last 3 whiskies that I've shared with you are all new releases. Number 6, last year's winner of the category, dropping 5 places. Why? Well, because everybody's probably run out and bought a wee bottle of it, and there's other things to look at now. I'm not sure, but that means that it's left space up the top for other things. We know that Nika's not going to get top this year. Cutty Sark's Prohibition. So it's not just the commentators and the guides and reviewers that have put forward nominations for Prohibition in the past, in 2022 and 2023, but you guys are enjoying it too, and it holds its position there at number 5. Number 4, the first of 2 releases from Compass Box in the top 10 blends. Artist Blends comes in at number 4, and the Glasgow Blend comes in at number 3. Now, Artist Blend is a brand new entry. The Glasgow Blend was already popular last year and has just slipped a single place, but still has a top 3 spot. Look at this.
Straight in, out of nowhere.
Adelphi's McLean's Nose. People are lapping this stuff up.
People really are.
Because this is good quality, tasty whiskey at a fair price. I've used this in a blind, and it is amazing how powerful it is.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what's at number 1? What's the best blended whiskey according to our voting community? They can vote for anything that they want, anything
Absolutely
at all.
anything.
And of course, they voted for Thompson Brothers 6-year-old blended malt by a huge margin as well. Now remember, because of the low vote participation in this category, you can see that 81 votes at the top. It means that any kind of vote, any wild card participation can make a big difference to the results here. So there we go. Yes. You have ratified the nomination and the win there. Something magical. And I suspect, and it would have been nice if Phil and Simon would have been able to participate, but I'm still not seeing a window pop in from them. It'd be nice to see them at some point tonight, because I want to ask them, how long is this going to last? I suspect this is the type of whiskey that we might be speaking about in the future. Do you remember when the Thompson brothers had that cracking wee 6-year-old blend you could pick up for 32 quid?
But the thing is, of course, Roy, it's whiskies like Thompson Brothers 6-year-old and Maclean's Nose that open the doors to other distilleries to bring out real value, accessible, traditional blended Scotch, knowing that there is an audience, there is a market, there is a good reception for when it's done right. So I find that's very encouraging, and I tend to agree. I don't know how much longer it's going to be around, because this is whiskey that they're using in the blend that they don't make themselves. They've got to source from third parties, as a result of which they don't have full control of it over the long term. It'll be interesting to see how things go. But yeah, we're clearly, after 3 years of the OSWAs, we're now starting to see changes here. And in this category, it's really quite transparent.
Another blended category coming up, blended malt.
Blended, yeah.
Let's push on, fella.
Pushing on.
Let's get going.
Hi, I'm Inga Larissa from Whiskey Sisters podcast. And on behalf of Jen and I just wanted to thank you guys for asking us to be involved again this year. And congratulations to all the winners, and well done all the nominees and everyone involved. Cheers.
Roy and Ralfy, you take on a massive amount of work every year to make the OSWA possible. So gentlemen, well done. These awards carry weight with them that no other awards do. A love of whiskey on a global scale. The bottles we love to share and the distilleries who produce them deserve nothing less. I am truly honored to be part of this. Cheers.
Hi everyone, whiskey enthusiast here from Turkey. Chuffed to be part of the OSWAs 2023. Cheers, Roy and Ralfy. I wish you all a fantastic awards ceremony and a good luck to all the nominees. Slanjaba.
Ralphie's enjoying these wee vignettes, because he's getting to see these for the first time.
Absolutely. I'm seeing it for the very first time. And what I really love is just every single contribution is totally original, and you can see that, right, what am I going to say for so many seconds, and then probably just wing it, and it works.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. We really appreciate it. We like having this as part of it. Okay, best blended malt. When we talk about the blended malt category, of course, what we're speaking about here is we're still speaking about blends, but of course it's not blended Scotch whisky. It's all malt whiskies that are blended together. So it's a very, very specific thing, and something that's making a more and more
feature.
Yeah, I think it's become, we're not scared of the B word anymore, I think, the way that we were in the past. We're happy we don't really always need to know what the malts were in the mix. We are now trusting the producer, the brand behind it, the people that believe in the product. So we're very, very comfortable stepping forward into the blended malt sector. So as I say, this is not a mix of grains. Everything in this is malt whiskey. It's a fast-growing category, and it still today offers great value. Some of the most interesting and attainable releases in recent times have been blended malts. I would have to suggest that that's true. We're going to see some of the most exciting ones tonight, actually. So let's step forward. Let's welcome in our third announcer, and reach out to somebody local, and a Kent face for us.
Really, has he been arrested yet, or is he still at large?
Well, I hope he's at large, because he needs to come in and join us tonight.
In fact, he is quite a large. He's sitting there laughing his big. Hello, Tommy. Wave. I said I'd give you a wave. Good
to see you, sir. Good to see you. Welcome, Thomas. We're well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm a wee bit tired. I had a new start in this morning, Roy. I mean, so training somebody how to pour pints, it was a wee bit hard going, but ended up being no bad at the end.
Has he been pouring any of the whiskey chaser? Tell me.
Oh, well, you need to wait till later on to find out when he releases videos. Eh?
Absolutely. I see you didn't have time to tidy up the office a bit there.
No, you know, I managed to find the spyglass I was looking for.
Oh, you need them.
I've got my wee whiskey chaser badge in the back there.
Could you hold it forward, please? Because this is free advertising for us.
I was going to get it pinned onto my shirt so you could do it. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the Bonaccord Boffy.
Yes, Kilburn's Whiskey Chaser. The first ale dedicated to whiskey drinkers. Am I allowed to say this?
Can we just, Ralphie has been doing reviews on YouTube for 14 years and he's never missed a week. If anybody is complaining that Ralphie's promoting an exclusive beer that you can only buy at the Bonaccord, just as a wee self-indulgence in order to celebrate those 14 years without missing a single week, I think that's a wee bit short-sighted. And also, I'll go one further.
Yeah.
There is not, when I have a dram in a pub, I'm after a beer that can work with a whiskey.
Yes.
So I'm now advertising for you as well.
Absolutely.
I feel like I feel bad. So
no, don't feel bad about it. You're doing just fine. Straight to camera. We don't have to edit this at all.
Four casks only, right? So it's hardly. Anyway, Thomas, my friend, thank you so much for stepping forward. Thanks for participating in the OSWAs and the Bonaccord. It's wonderful to see you've got a dedicated shelf. And I know that tonight that's now going to get some more interesting whiskies added to that wee OSWA Online Scotch Whisky Awards shelf.
Yeah. Now, just to confirm, Roy, the Bonaccord is pioneering the dedicated OSWA shelf. So this is a shelf that contains all the winners or representatives of the winners of the OSWAs. So you can go into that particular bar, and I know other bars would like to be doing this as well, but we're just innovating one bar at a time. That when you go in, you'll see the OSWAs compacted into 9 bottles.
Aye, fantastic. It's fantastic to see it, buddy. I hope it works out. I hope it does well. If there's anything that we can do to help that concept along, and anybody out there that wants to participate in that thinks that we can help them do it so that we can get people tasting what people are nominating, let's work together to see if we can make it happen.
So it works, yeah.
My friend, you've got a wee red envelope there. I saw it sneak into the screen, and you're on time. Go right ahead.
I'll read the whole things out. Right, okay. So the nominations for the 2023 Online Scotch Whisky Awards in the category of Best Blended Malt Whisky are as follows: Douglas Lang's Big Pete, Campbelltown Lock, Compass Box No Name, Compass Box Orchard House, Douglas Lang The Goldrins, and Thompson Bros SRV5.
Right,
fantastic.
Yeah. I've not invested in a letter opener, so I'm going to have to use my biro because my fingers are too big and I can't get it open. So,
big drum roll.
That's it. And the winner is Campbelltown Lock. That's fantastic, brilliant. Yeah. There you go.
Yes,
superb.
Well done. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you very much, Thomas. We've been asked indirectly, I'm paraphrasing here, if we can provide subtitles for folks that are not up in Ouija.
Yeah. My daughter's in work now. Maybe I could get her to come in and do a bit for me, get her to type it up.
Bring your daughter in for a wee bit of translating. That would be fabulous, buddy. Just superb, Thomas. Superb for everything that you do, for the hospitality that you offer, that safe harbour, that not just for whiskey folk, but that kind of ambassadorship that you host for Glasgow is fantastic. Thank you for joining us tonight, my friend.
Thank you, Thomas,
and all the team at the
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you so much. Cheers
to the team.
Lunch.
Terrific stuff. So there we have it. Campbelltown Loch, again, a relatively it was part of the OSWAs last year.
Yes.
But we've got a concept that's pretty new. Campbelltown Loch used to be a blended Scotch whisky.
It did.
And they reinvented it as a blended malt. They put it out there at a decent price, all natural. They're quite happy to embrace batch variation. They don't mind, as long as the minimum quality is met. This is a J&A Mitchell Springbank product.
It is. And it's coming in at a time, Roy, where people understand through experience and through online education that you can have changes, subtle changes in the flavour from batch to batch, but so long as the quality is maintained, that is what's really important. And I think that when it comes to blended malt whiskies, it's certainly a category I'm going to feature more of in 2024 from the Bothy, because they do represent, there's some really good options, some really interesting whiskies, and they can represent very good value, particularly as they become more available globally.
And they're affordable too.
Yes.
Let's head down to Campbelltown. I can see a wee man in the washback bar who stepped forward.
Hi, Phil.
Good to see you, sir.
Hello.
What can we...
Hello.
Now that's a quiet wee spot tonight, isn't it? That's the washback bar. I imagine that it's going to get a wee bit busier as the evening progresses, Mr. Allen. It's good to welcome you here.
Yeah, I don't think you need a crystal ball for that. I think
You need to move a bit closer to the camera and the mic, my friend, for us to hear you a wee bit better.
We're getting there.
But congratulations on the success of a pretty new product. Are you surprised by how successful it's been?
No, not at all. We are pretty confident in the quality of what we put together. It's a really good representation of our whiskies, and Campbelltown is a region, and the people that drink these whiskies kind of know their stuff as well. So no, it's a nice accolade to get, definitely, but we were pretty confident in it.
And it's fantastic that here's Springbank and Campbelltown Loch delivering in this particular category, which is increasingly getting people's attention. Now, can I ask a wee question, David? Because I'm a wee bit nosy about this, and on behalf of all the whiskey fans, is just how much Springbank goes into Campbelltown Loch?
Yeah, good question. There's a pretty reasonable proportion, obviously. We've got
pretty reasonable portion. You're not giving much away, mate.
Well, I'm not sure if this is a secret Finlay Ross is going to pull me up for on Monday, but the biggest component, I suppose, in this particular batch is actually Kilkerran. And you were talking about batch variation just before, but I think we've kind of nailed the batch. The recipe where it is just now, we kind of hope that we'll have a fairly consistent product now.
Superb. So you're gonna, it's going to become a wee bit more consistent. I have to say, David, and I know that you and I have spoken about this in the past, but I was quite enjoying, and I didn't feel that I needed the consistency, but I understand the drive from a producer to try and achieve a consistent product. Yes. I quite like the fact that I've got 2 or 3 different Campbelltown Lochs that I can compare and contrast. Anyway, my friend, I think it's just a tremendous one thing I want to ask, Ralphie asked about how much Springbank was in it. The fact that it's Campbelltown Loch, do all the whiskies have to be from Campbelltown, or is that something that you choose to do?
Yeah, we've chosen to make it a true representation of Campbelltown with all 5 single malts from the region in it. So, absolutely. I don't think we'd be doing it service by taking whiskies from elsewhere from the country and putting it into it. So, yeah, all 5 single malts from Campbelltown in this.
You have now persuaded me to go out and buy a bottle, David. Absolutely.
Before he goes back. Well, David, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you for stepping forward. Did you receive your certificates? Did you receive your awards?
There
it is. It's on the bar right behind them there. Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, along with that award goes a wee raised glass from Ralphie and I as well, and just our not only our congratulations, but our thanks to bring out good quality, good sippable whiskey that's actually available from Campbelltown that we can go out and buy and enjoy.
And for simply being iconic.
That's just David Allen you're talking about now, right?
Yeah, I expect we'll get to the whiskey. We'll get to Springbank later, maybe.
Congratulations to the entire team. Cheers, David.
Cheers, David.
All the best. Good stuff. Let's see how that breaks down, Ralphie. Let's have a wee look at how this winner category, this blended malt category breaks down. Let's go through this quite quickly tonight. We are always, as we always do, going to be a bit behind time. No votes are still quite high at 23%, but there's much more engagement here than there was in the blended category.
Yes.
So people are starting to become comfortable with this. At number 6, Douglas Laing's Galdrons, another Campbelltown blended whiskey in at 5%. Compass Box No Name, a premium, I have to say, peated whiskey, but very good quality peated whiskey at 6%. At number 5, Douglas Laing again with their Big Peat this time, one of their kind of cult whiskies, I would say. But that's been a blended malt from the start, and that's Big Peat's been, it feels like about a decade now. It's been around a long time,
and quite a few permutations and variations in the theme of Big Peat. Yeah,
quite a cult wee dram, and something that's spearheaded, I think, the remarkable regional malts. At number 3, it's already been mentioned, Thompson Bros SRV5. That's their 8-year-old blended malt. It's not available everywhere. Not everyone's getting a chance to try this, much like their blended winning category winner. But they are managing to get it out to more and more places as time goes on. I hope that people do get a chance to try it because it's a cracker.
Yeah.
Second place, Compass Box's Orchard House. This was last year's winner of this category. It's still a strong performer with 23% of the vote. But tonight's winner, with 25% of the vote, 1,395 people stepped up to place a vote for Campbelltown Loch. So there are people enjoying it. Let's have a look.
Very significant.
At the people's choices. What did you guys put through on this category with your wild cards? In 10th place, we have a Douglas Laing Remarkable Regional Malts tie. 2 new entries with the Rock Island and the Scallywag. Both 46% whiskies, both widely available. I've even spotted these in supermarkets, believe it or not.
Really?
Fantastic to see. It's just a great alternative to a lot of the kind of more kind of diluted things that are out there.
Oh, right. Tactful.
Well, I'm speaking from the perspective of an enthusiast, where if you're going to give me a 40% or 43% whiskey, it has to be really quite fantastic. But if you look at a 46% whiskey, you're looking at something that's probably targeted towards somebody that's a sipper.
Precisely.
And it's not, I don't mean to be aloof or gatekeepy about things. It's just the way I perceive things. And position number 9, we've got a Billy Walker product. This is McNair's Limerick. This is their 10-year-old. People obviously getting a hold of this and starting to enjoy it and talk about it, because this is another new entry at number 9. At number 8, this has been a rebranded product. Now, this is at 40%, but I have to give this thing a buy because it's a remarkable, wee, easy crowd pleaser. This used to be Naked Grouse. It's been rebranded to Naked Malt more recently. It is 40% ABV, but it's also very low cost as well. It's all malt whiskey, of course. Number 7, another Compass Box here. We've been talking about Compass Box throughout tonight. This is their Peat Monster, good value, holding its place at number 7, 46% ABV and enjoyed by many. Number 6, we've got the ubiquitous Monkey Shoulder. It slips a place this year, but it's still, when we think about blended malts, there's a lot of people that the first thing that pops into their head is Monkey Shoulder. Grants have done an amazing job of getting this out there right across the world.
They have.
It's used as a mixer, it's used as a sipper. It's really quite a versatile wee whiskey. Johnny Walker makes a mention. It's slipped 2 places. The green label has slipped 2 places in 2023. Again, out of the Johnny Walker range, this is their malt version. This is their core range malt, 15-year age statement. I think it suffers a wee bit, and I think that the more recent stop there. I think the fact that it slipped 2 places in the charts probably gives the producers a wee bit of feedback there.
Totally.
Number 4. Thompson Brothers climbing a place this year after appearing in the OSWAs for the first time last year is their SRV 5 8-year-old. This is Station Road VAT 5. And number 3, Compass Box's Spice Tree. slipping a place.
Yes, the brand that got Inner Staves banned.
Yes, still enjoyed by many. And last year's winner also slipping a place.
Yes.
So can we guess what slipped in to make quite a few of these slip and take the top spot?
I think we're going to see a bit of an endorsement here.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
You guys seem to be enjoying this too. And look at the margin here. Now, when we're in the blended categories, whether it's blended whiskey or blended malt, we do see less participation. So it's very, very easy for individual votes to affect the outcome. But that margin is significant.
Yes,
absolutely.
Indeed.
Okay, my friend, I think we need to do a wee bit of catching up, as we always do.
Yes, it happens.
But let's try our very, 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 very best and push on.
From me, my wife, and whiskey, thank you all for watching the 2023 OSWAs ceremony.
Thanks to Roy and Ralfy for hosting.
Thanks to all who contributed to the nominations process.
And most importantly, thanks to all of you for voting on this amazing selection of whiskeys.
It's already been a great year for the OSWAs, and we're looking forward to many more.
Hola, soy Tito Whisky desde Argentina y quiero agradecer a Ralfy y a Roy por permitirme nuevamente participar de los premios OSWA, colaborando en la elección de los whiskies que el público ha votado. Y recuerden que no importa qué whiskies ganen, lo importante es disfrutarlo. Salud.
Fantastic. I'm glad that Hector put up some subtitles there to help us.
That was very handy, yes.
Understand over in Argentina. Thank you, Hector. And thanks to me, my wife, and Whiskey as well, the review site as well, for stepping forward. I guess they wouldn't normally be on video, those guys. They're reviewers. Okay, let's go into the best non-malt whiskey. Why do we persist in non-malt whiskey? Why are we interested in non-malt whiskey? Because it's vital. It's absolutely part of the whiskey landscape.
Malternatives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe we should call this best alternatives, but then people might think
idea.
about rums or something like that. But what we're saying is that, and some people come back and say, but there's malt whiskey in some of these. Yes, there is malt whiskey in the mash bill for enzyme effect, for recipe, for whatever it may be. But what we're speaking about is not single malt. We're talking about non-malt whiskey. Some people get it confused. What we're trying to do is offer a category that can celebrate pot still Irish, bourbon, that can rye whiskies. That there's just so much that can fit into this category if we open up our minds a little bit and think about something other than Scotch single malt, of course.
Yes.
In this category, we are looking for more than just single malt, more than one kind of whiskey. We're looking for any grain types, as long as it excludes malt. Rye, corn, wheat, anything else is included, opening up all styles of whiskey, including unmalted barley, of course. To introduce us to this category, we're going to go over to someone who probably didn't need subtitles in order to understand what Hector was saying during that last wee vignette. We're going to go over to Spain and welcome in Emma. Emma, how are you?
Hello, Emma.
Hello, guys. How are you doing? No, I didn't need subtitles for Tito, but it's good that he gave them so you can all understand what he says.
Absolutely.
Exactly. It was helpful. We had Manuel, who was on from Mexico earlier, gave us two versions, an English and a Spanish-speaking version, which I thought was fantastic, and I wanted to use the Spanish-speaking one. My Spanish is rudimentary at best, Emma, but I could understand more or less what Manuel was saying too. Maybe next year we'll get Manuel to do a Spanish one with subtitles too for everyone. It's nice to welcome you for the first time in the OSWAs. It's not your first time participating though. I think it's your second year participating. Thank you very much, and thank you for stepping forward on camera this time. Camera is not normally your domain, am I right?
It is sometimes, I like writing, so you will see me more writing everywhere. But I'm just open to do whatever it comes. So happy to be here.
Fantastic. It's wonderful to have you here. So Todo Whiskey is reviews, it's guidance, it's tastings, it's tours. You do everything, right? But you're involved in a lot of ways of bringing people into whiskey.
Yeah, for me, it was like the first way to get into whiskey. I've been doing this for 11 years now. So, not as much as Ralphie, but it's quite a long time. And it's a way that I still share with people what I learn, what I discover, and bring them in. And it's been a very fun journey where I can just talk about whiskeys that I like, distilleries I visit, which I always think it's super useful, especially for people outside of Scotland. You know, like you go
Yes.
to Scotland, you get to experience everything. It's for me, Scotland is Disneyland. So getting a wee bit of Scotland to the rest of the world is always a fun thing to do.
Fantastic. And if I speak about, is it okay to speak specifically about Spain? Is Scotch whisky popularity becoming more? And when I go to Spain now, I think I see a better variety of malt whisky. Would that be true?
It is. It's growing. It's been growing, I think, like more for the past 5 years. Spain used to be like a very traditional country, not moving from your standard for brands. And slowly, whiskeys are starting to come in. More things are opening. There's more whiskey clubs that we didn't have. There's more whiskey activity, more whiskey shops, more specialists. You have like specialist bars like La Whiskeria in Barcelona have like more than 3,000 whiskey references, which is just insane. So people are starting to get into it and try new things, which is good for us because it means like more whiskey for everyone.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for being part of that evangelism and bringing whiskey into Spain and making it easy for people to get into it from your perspective. Emma, do you have a wee red envelope handy?
Apparently I do.
Fantastic. We love it.
Okay.
When you're ready, take it away, Emma.
Okay, my accent, Spanish accent is going to kick in now. The nominations for the 2023 Online Scotch Whisky Awards in the category of Best Non-Malt Whiskey are as follows. Blue Spot 7-year-old Cask Strength, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof, Loch Lomond Peated Single Grain, Wild Turkey 101, and Wild Turkey Rare Breed.
Fantastic.
Yes, please. And we're going to have a winner.
Do we? And the winner is Wild Turkey Rare Breed.
Right. Okay. Right. We've seen
a bourbon.
A bourbon. We've seen this before.
Yes, we have. We've seen it. We've seen Wild Turkey as a brand being enjoyed hugely by the Scotch community.
Yes.
And here they endorse it as what they perceive to be one of their best non-malt whiskies. Have you tried the Rare Breed yourself, Emma?
Not, but it's on my list. I'm seeing a lot of new things that I haven't seen around that I'm putting like for next one, which is a bad thing to do because now you're making my list grow and grow and grow. And the whiskey is going to get me out of my house.
It's bad for the wallet. It's bad for some things, but it's good for curiosity and for chasing flavor.
It's good for the malt moments, and every day is a journey, and it's lovely to have you on the OSWAs.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I wish you very, very best with the evangelism going forward, Emma. Thank you for being part of the OSWAs again, and I look forward to welcoming you in the future too. Thank you so much.
Cheers now.
Thank you.
Cheers to you, Emma. Cheers. Going to need a wee bit in my glass before too long. So there we go. An interesting one. We've got a bourbon. This was an Irish whiskey that won this category last year. It was a redbreast one.
It was a redbreast won it last year. Yes. So what's interesting here, Roy, is that Wild Turkey is one of the good, solid, old school bourbons that is available outside of the US. And I think that's quite significant. It's bottled at higher strength when the majority of bourbons coming out the US into the world market are actually brought down in strength or at a relatively low strength to start with.
Our Buffalo Trace is 40% here. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Very good illustrative example.
So let's see how that breaks down. people fairly confident, but a quarter of them choosing to not place a vote and to skip this category. Thank you for your honesty. Going forward, we see that at number 6, Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof, another bourbon, a fantastic, I have to say, I just love that stuff. Came in with
Tennessee whiskey.
Tennessee whiskey, you're right. You're absolutely right. Bourbon and everything bar the Lincoln method and the geography, I guess.
Yeah.
The neighbouring state. Loch Lomond's Single Grain Peated. We've actually got a Scotch whisky in the category and nominated here with 11% of the vote. Very popular whisky. They've got an unpeated and a peated version. That's the peated version that gets 11%. We've got the other Wild Turkey in the mix here too. 2 Wild Turkeys nominated in this category. The great value, I have to say, often on offer. Wild Turkey 101 proof translates into 50.5% ABV for us, and it takes 12% of the vote. Then we've got a big hitter in Elijah Craig's Barrel Proof. Hugely popular whiskey, hugely popular bourbon. Managed to make its presence known in 3rd place there. An Irish, single pot still Irish, making it in 2nd place there. Fantastic. There was times when I thought Blue Spot was going to win this, but in the end, as time went on, it was the Wild Turkey Rare Breed that powered through, breaking 1,000 votes in the category. The only one in this category to do so, to break 1,000 votes. Let's look at the non-malt whiskey People's Choice for this one. Here we see this is the second year in a row we've seen Old Forester appear. It's appeared in the nominations for the OSWAs as well, but it's slipping 2 places, but still holding its spot in the top 10. We've got Old Forester. That's the Prohibition edition, the 1920. At number 9, we've got a single pot still Irish, the Yellow Spot 12-year-old. Despite it creeping up in price, people still appreciate this stuff, and it's actually climbed a spot to number 9 this year. Number 8 is Loch Lomond's Single Grain Peated Whiskey. That's also been in the nominations. You guys are enjoying it too. It does slip a spot, but still in the top 10 this year. Number 7, another bourbon, this time a Kentucky bourbon, Four Roses Single Barrel, a new entry this year. Number 6, another new entry. It was also in the nominations. This is it's Irish Distillers, but the brand is Mitchell's. Blue Spot 7-year-old. This is their cast strength version, loved by many. Lots of new batches come out recently, making it a bit more available than that really elusive first batch that came out.
Yeah.
Redbreast and Elijah, 2 huge big hitters here in the People's Choice, tying for 4th place. Redbreast 12-year-old cast strength and Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Both big, potent, big hitter whiskies, completely different in style, completely different in profile, but much enjoyed. The Redbreast slips down quite a bit. That was our winner of this category last year, I think. -4 it must be. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof holding its own in 4th place. You have decided Wild Turkey Rare Breed and your People's Choice deserves to be up there, but only at position number 3, although it does climb a spot this year from last year's number 4. In 2nd place, you've put it's more available, more affordable, slightly lower ABV, stablemate Wild Turkey 101 ahead of it. And that also climbs a place from last year. So what have you put forward for your best non-malt whiskey? This had me scratching my head. But the more I think about it, the more it's deserved. We have a bourbon, Eagle Rare 10-year-old. There are not people in North America going to be screaming at the screen right now saying, "You're kidding, I can't buy this stuff."
Yeah.
I can walk into our local supermarket here right now. Such is the nature of the supply chain that I can walk into the supermarket. It's 45% ABV here. I think it's the same in the States.
Yeah.
And I can pick this up at a reasonable price. 10-year-old age statement, fantastic.
Yes.
Bourbon whiskey too.
A very convincing alternative.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is your People's Choice picks for best non-malt whiskey. Let's keep pushing forward.
Hi, Roy and Ralfy. This is Malt Daddy from Taiwan. Thank you again for organizing this year's OSWA Award show. As a whiskey enthusiast, we always want to recommend the best and the most integrity bottle out there to our subscribers. And I think this is the best way to spread the good news throughout the world, right? Because there's no marketing involved. We don't get paid for this, but we have fun doing this at the end of the day. So thank you again, guys, for spearheading this movement. We all appreciate it. Kante from Taiwan. Cheers.
Whiskey Jason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, and I'm so proud of Ralfy and Roy here for the Online Scotch Whisky Awards, and I'm very, very, very happy that we over here in Germany can also be part of it by participating, by recommending, and also by being just one of the passionate people about whiskey online. Thanks very much.
We are running a wee few minutes behind time, but that's okay.
Just like last year.
Just like last year. I'm going to pour something in the glass as we move into our next category tonight. Our next category is a very popular one. It's one of the big, it's the middle in that capital E, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's something that really, it's quite emotive for a lot of people too. Let's pull it up and talk about our best distillery. So this is not speaking about, of course, a single product. It's not talking about visiting or a visitor experience. It's speaking about a distillery that does all of those things. Good products, good visitor experience, potentially. But more than anything, is just, in order to win and succeed at this, it needs to be something that is fair priced, good quality, revered and loved.
Yes.
And I think all the distilleries in the OSWAs over the 3 years, they do qualify for those descriptors.
Absolutely. They are serious standout distilleries that really know and invest in catching our attention.
We're focusing on producers who are bringing best experiences in whiskey. Many are committed to long-term, available and affordable quality, while others chase what the market will stand. Here we celebrate the former.
Yeah.
So we're going to reach out to another one of our announcers. We're back over the Atlantic to the US. We're going to reach out to one of the two Scotch test dummies, Mr. Scott Bruno. Scotty, good to see you.
Hello.
Roy and Ralfy.
Hello, Scott.
Hello. How are y'all doing? It's going good so
well.
far, it looks like.
I'm sorry?
It's going good so far, it looks like.
Good. Yes. Yeah, it feels like it's going well. It feels like it's going well.
Fingers crossed.
There's still time for the wheels to fall off, Scott. You know how it runs, right? Especially when you're doing things live.
When Roy's in charge, nothing ever goes off the rails.
It's
too well organized.
But now that I'm here, Scott, anything can happen.
Anything can happen in the next 5 minutes.
Yep.
You've been doing it for a long time. You're celebrating, what, 10 years now, Scott?
Yeah, just over October of 2013. Bart and I started.
Oh, fantastic!
Ralfy was the godfather of YouTube reviews. We were watching Ralfy, and it spurred us to start reviewing whiskey on YouTube.
Well, I hope you haven't picked up too many bad habits from me.
I did have to get a microscope lately because the old eyesight is getting bad. So we do have a microscope now, or the handheld one to
the
be
magnifier.
Able to
Yeah. Very, very useful.
Yes, magnifier. Yeah.
Let's raise a glass to the Scotch Test Dummies on 10 years.
10 years to Scotch Test Dummies.
Cheers.
Congratulations, Scott. It's great to see you. It's great to have you on. It's great to have you participating. I hope you give your very best regards to your big pal Bart there as well for us too. Have you got a wee red envelope you can burst open for us, my friend?
That I do.
Wonderful.
And all right. You want me to read the front first?
Yes, please.
All right. The nominations for the 2023 Online Scotch Whisky Awards in the category of Best Distillery are as follows: Ardnamurchan, Ben Romick, Brooklady, Glen Scotia, Loch Lomond, and Springbank.
Good lineup.
Real good lineup. Good distilleries for sure. Get this envelope tore open. Maybe. That one sealed up good. The winner is Springbank 2023 OSWA
My
winner.
goodness. Oh, here. This is Groundhog Day. This is Groundhog Day. Whatever the secret sauce is, There's a lot of sauce happening at Springbank.
And you know, see if there are people out there throwing their cushions at the TV right now,
Yes.
or banging their keyboard, whatever it
Yes.
is. Don't shoot us for sharing.
This is
what
democracy.
you have voted for.
Democracy in action.
I think there are so many people out there that love this distillery so much that they'll
Well
be
deserved.
celebrating, they'll be running around, and they'll be just over. But there's going to be a lot of people going frustrated because of the ongoing availability issues, and we understand that. But just because of their success doesn't mean they should be punished, I think.
No, in fact, they should be inspiring other distilleries globally.
Yes, to do
because
very
they are
similar
an
things.
inspiration.
Yeah.
They're a template.
Do you enjoy Springbank yourself, Scott?
I do. It's been a while. I can remember several years ago, and Roy, I think probably the first time when you came over when we went down to Austin, what was that, 2018?
2018, yeah.
We were seeing Springbanks on the shelves here, and it was so odd for you because you never saw it on the shelf, you know, in Scotland. And now, though, it's a completely different story. It's gone. You can't find it anywhere. I mean, it's vanished.
The word's out now, Scott. The word's out now. I remember it wasn't the 10-year-old and the long row peated and things I was seeing.
Mhm.
They had long row reds, multiple versions of it. They
Right.
had local barley on the shelf. And I was
Right.
heartbroken that I didn't have the space in my suitcase to bring all these 750ml treasures home, right? But it's just the way it is. Back then, you could still get the 10-year-old and things.
Mhm.
It's become even more acute than that since. It's just the way it is for the distillery, yet it is the success of their model.
Yeah.
Scott, my friend Scott, I miss you, fella. I'm looking forward to the next time I see you. And thanks very much for your ongoing support in this project and for stepping forward to participate tonight.
And for 10 years.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yep. And cheers to you guys doing a great job getting this all organized. I know it's like herding cats, but just doing a great job, and it's well done. And just cheers to you guys.
You're very welcome. I'll leave most of it to Roy, to be honest.
You know,
I know. I've worked with Roy.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Cheers, guys.
Scott, cheers.
Yeah.
I tell you, these Springbank people, you know,
let's just head over to see.
Let's just over and just see let's see what's happening in the washback bar. Oh, for goodness sake. My goodness. So folks have been dragged out the pub.
Let's have a wee look at this scene here. I just
Yes.
need to blow this up here. Oh my goodness.
There we
everybody's
go.
in. Congratulations, all of you.
Rightio.
Superb. Now, we know that this is familiar territory to you all, David. This is the third time. I'm getting a wee bit of an echo, but that's okay because you're broadcasting me out so that everyone can hear. It's fine. We'll just deal with that.
We're carrying on. We're carrying on.
This is the third time, and some people might be frustrated that they can't buy the whiskey, but there would be very few that would be brave enough to step up and suggest that it's not deserved. I think that as soon as Springbank was nominated in this category again this year, Ralphie and I knew that the trifecta idea was a good one.
Yeah.
Because you deserve to be rewarded for this 3 times in a row. It is phenomenal, David. Phenomenal. You'll need to step a lot closer to the microphone to speak to us, my friend.
Yes. Yes. A wee word of advice, David. These are the new generation of A4 certificate frames, and they're glass, not vinyl. So don't drop it in the deck because it'll definitely break. Handle with care. These are fragile and highly treasured certificates that other distilleries are struggling to obtain because Springbank is beating them to it. I mean, there's really not a lot I can add. You folks are an absolute inspiration to the Scotch whisky industry in the contemporary global theatre of appreciation and enjoyment of whiskey.
And right on time, one of the biggest communities, if not the biggest community in whiskey, is Whiskey Based. And they've just chimed in and said, well deserved from Whiskey Based.
There you go.
There's no truck anybody can have to this stuff. It's fabulous. Let's hear from you, David Allen.
Yeah, well,
thanks very much for this honour again. And yeah, we take our certificates very seriously, Ralphie. The previous two are up in the wall in the back corner there, and
Yes.
yeah, the Campbellton Lock and this certificate will proudly go up there as well. And you know, it's a great accolade, and really, you know, this is why we, I think, deserve the accolade. Every single person here, every department that we have, we're all sort of together in that sort of goal of just representing Springbank, Campbelltown, getting people to our pretty remote and difficult to get to community. So we like people to enjoy the whiskey, but really, whether it's come here to our whiskey school or tours, spend time in the washback bar, you know, everybody's involved. So that's why we've got everybody here. Well, most people here, somebody from every department. I'm not sure the bar's quite big enough to get everybody that works at Springbank in here, but we've given it a good go.
Well, we really appreciate everybody joining you, David, to as an acknowledgement from Springbank to the online democratic, one person, two votes. It speaks for itself. It's not an opinion from experts or enthusiasts. It is the solid endorsement from whiskey drinkers, whiskey buyers globally.
I think you're going to enjoy the stats I'm about to share with you as well, David. You're going to enjoy them. Listen, before you go, I have one thing to ask you, my friend, before you go off and enjoy your night.
Go ahead.
Will you step forward? You're guaranteed an OSWA award next year. Will you step forward in 2024 and accept your trifecta?
Oh, 100%, absolutely, yeah. I mean, we don't need much of an excuse for a party, so
well,
any excuse to get up here.
I can guarantee you and everybody there, all the team. I know I spent a week with you earlier this year. It was fabulous. I miss you all daily. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I can't wait to get back down there again. I know how much you enjoy your knees up. So with that said, I look forward to seeing you in 2024. Congratulations for everything, and I'll leave you to it.
Absolutely. Congratulations, folks. Well earned.
Well earned.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Some people saying, why don't we just call this the Springbank category, right? And that's when if we started to ban Springbank for participating or something, that would be to punish them for success. It's not what we want to do. We want to have them back in 2024 to celebrate a trifecta, but then see how the vote spread works out over the other categories. Wonderful to see. Wonderful to see. So I promised some stats on this. It's going to be interesting for everybody to see this. Here's how the vote breakdown went. Very high participation on this. Only 4% skipping this category. At number 6, huge turnaround. Very in vogue distillery. People loving the stuff that's coming out of Loch Lomond with 6% of the vote. Ben Romack as well. 11% of the vote this time. I personally think there's very, very little to be done there to make that much better. Much better, and I'm just looking at the core range. Yes, Ben Romack, thank you for all the fantastic stuff you're bringing to us outside of the core range, but there's very little to be done there to make that the Springbank of the North.
The only thing that needs to be done is to turn 43% into 46%.
Stop chill filtering.
And stop chill filtering.
Yeah. Give us the full Ben Romack. We're loving it on the contrast series. We're loving it on the cast strength.
Absolutely. Everybody does.
Sorry, we're whinging. We're using this as a platform to whinge, and we shouldn't. Glen Scotia coming in, thoroughly well deserved. The neighbours of Springbank, of course, just across town there with 13% of the vote. Fantastic to see Glen Scotia in there too. Ardnamurchan.
This is a repeat situation.
Yes, it is. And it's
increasingly repeating.
It's just there's some magic happening up there in the peninsula. We need to work out what it is. I think a lot of other producers out there need to inquire as to work out what it is as well. But there you go, Ardnamurchan making it in with 18% of the vote in third place.
Mm-hmm.
In second place, Brookladdy with 20% of the vote. A fan favourite, always does very, very well. But look at this. You cannot argue with these stats. 1,800 people voting to take Springbank up to 28% of the votes.
28%. It's not a narrow margin.
In
here.
order for that to be beaten, we need to ask them to go on the naughty step for a year.
Yes.
and let other people have a wee shot in the swings, you know?
Yes. And I think this is a very, very transparent message to the Scotch whisky industry that people want malts like Springbank. They want the presentation, the presence of the whiskey in the distillery, the flavour, because people's palates are ready for it, appreciate it, value it, and at the moment, Springbank seems to be the sole torchbearer for exceptional single malts.
Well, I've got another 9 distilleries here because I guarantee that Springbank will appear in this top 10 list tonight, but alongside another 9 worthy entries too. And at number 10, we've got Tobermory coming in on the Isle of Mull. Ralphie's already plugged them earlier tonight, talking about the lead chick, the peated, but they're also put out there the Tobermory brand as well, which is fully natural whiskey, and more people are discovering it and loving it. For the second year, position 10. We've got a tie in Campbelltown for the 8th position. We've got Kilkerran, Glengyle Distillery, tying with their neighbours Glen Scotia for 8th position. Glengyle Kilkerran is a new entry into the People's Choice Top 10 this year. Glen Scotia has been in before, slipping down from 7 to 8. The Glenallachie, Speyside Distillery from Billy Walker. This was much higher in the past. Don't know, I can't explain that slip, but it's still very, very popular. It's still a fan favourite, and it's still doing strong and well in the top 10. Bunnahabhain, an absolutely dearly loved whiskey on Islay. Fantastic, really finding their stride in recent years. Very confidently stepping forward with unpeated and peated whiskey now, and people just loving what they do. If you go to visit a remote distillery, you could do a lot worse than going to visit Bunnahabhain Distillery on Islay. It takes a lot of effort to get there, but they make sure that you're rewarded for the pilgrimage.
And a spectacular location.
Oh, it's just stunning, absolutely stunning. Position number 5, another fantastic location out there on Lochindale and Islay. Bruichladdich holding a very strong position, a constant fan favourite in Bruichladdich, fully natural presentation across the entire range as well, whether it's Port Charlotte or Bruichladdich brands. And here we are at number 4, Ardnamurchan. Just a new distillery that didn't start producing whiskey until 2015, I think. 2014, their founding year, but 2015 when they started to make malt in any great volume. Climbing on last year's 6th place, climbing 2 places to take position 4 in the charts. Lochranza, of course, we've already seen Andy Bell participate in order to accept his award for Best Value Whiskey tonight, but this is just a brand that's going down well with everyone climbing a place to take position number 3. And number 2 is, of course, fan favourite Colholman, also in Islay, one of the very few Islay distilleries that's not located on the water, but rather it's a farm location over there, climbing up to 2nd place. So that leaves number 1. Can we think what it might be?
Scratches one's head, but not for too long.
Look at the margin at the top. Look at the margin.
Yeah.
Listen, remember that Ralphie and I are only here to deliver the message that you give us.
Yeah.
We put the data together, we share it back with you. We're holding up a mirror here. The votes are what you voted for, and the people's choices are what you selected and you put forward in a free text field where you could have written anything.
Yes. Like yourselves, we do get a vote, but we're part of the democratic process as much as you are. This is very much a collective voice.
I think I might have missed a vignette here tonight. I can't fathom out if I've missed one of these vignettes.
Right, so
I will try not to repeat it. I think repeating it would be worse than, well, no, repeating it would be better. Anyway, let's just push things on and see if I've picked the right one this time.
Hey guys, Matt here from Whiskey on the West Coast. I want to thank Roy and Ralfy for all the hard work they put into the OSWAs. And as much as these are their awards, really, they are yours. You are the ones that are casting the ballots who decide who wins these awards. And with all the hard work now done, all I have to do now is sit back and enjoy the show. From the West Coast of Canada, Slange.
Everyone's having a great night. I hope everybody has a dram in their hand. And what do you say we put a heartfelt toast out to Roy and Ralfy for hosting the 2023 Online Scotch Whisky Awards. Congratulations to all of the nominees, and a big congratulations to this year's winners. Cheers, and let's keep this journey going.
Terrific stuff. Thank you both. Thanks to Matt and thanks to Peter there as well.
Yes.
It's difficult to keep up with the amount of high quality Ralfy, fantastic, positive contribution YouTube channels that are out there today.
Yeah.
It's amazing. If you want to kick back with a dram and enjoy this, I'm sitting next to the man that kicked off the concept back in 2009, of course.
The geek that got kicked off the concept. That's me. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's responsible for all of it.
Well,
but
it seems a little bit kind of weird. 2009. It's not that long ago, and yet videos were uploaded on dial-up. You had to unplug the phone line to plug in your modem and wait for the modem to connect, and then wait for another 4 hours to upload a 15-minute video.
Live streaming would have been pretty difficult back then.
Oh, the good old days. Things are not the same as they used to be.
That's right. That's right. Okay, let's bring in our next category, which is the best new distillery. How do we define a new distillery?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what we talk about with a new distillery in the context of the OSWAs is a distillery that's been active and founded within the last 10 years. That's what we're trying to do. And I think that's a bit ugly. Imagine if it was Daft Mill, because we'd be talking about, Daft Mill were 12 years old before they actually released any whiskey. But nevertheless, we will refine things going forward. We want to give a space to these new producers that are coming on board, that are starting from scratch and putting flavour forward.
Yes.
And so many of them are trying to bring us good value too.
Yes. And importantly, Roy, that at a fairly early stage in the development and evolution of that distillery, we want to let them know that we're acknowledging them. We see they're there and we see them getting it right and investing with us as customers.
Yeah. Long term, I think, is the key there. Absolutely. Long term strategy, the idea of just getting people to enjoy the product and wanting to go back and buy another. Oh, it's a new distillery, exciting. But they need to be able to go back and buy it, repurchase and recommend it to friends as well.
This is key because the first purchase, the first sale is usually the easiest. But then it becomes the point of reference, the quality, the price, the availability, and the intelligence and experience which has gone into creating it, which has a more receptive audience now than has ever been around historically because of the internet.
I would say it's huge. The internet, just the proliferation of information and detail why things are.
Yeah.
I'm going to step forward. Well, to who's a well-kent face to me. Do you recognize this face?
My goodness.
This fella. They call him, and he admitted this to me recently, the Bill Bailey of whiskey.
Really? I thought he was called the Druid of Drams. He's sitting there nodding his head going, here we go.
You guys only funny.
Glasgow's Good Spirits Company. Ethical retailer, supporter of the OSWAs, and all-round superstar. We have Roddy.
Absolutely. And Glasgow's Whisky Club.
Yes.
A fine vintage institution. Unchill filtered, natural colour, high strength, and enormously complex.
And the chat lights up with Roddy emojis.
All Roddy's emojis are kicking off here, yes.
Fabulous. How are you, my friend? How are you, Roddy?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Yes.
Terrific. Thank you for stepping forward at very short notice. We had somebody that had to take a wee rain check on us, and I was scrabbling around. And I remember that Matthew stepped forward to represent the Good Spirits Company last year, and I gave Sarah a wee ring to ask to see who I could drum up, and of course you were available. We're very, very fortunate, my friend. Thank you.
I was delighted to be asked. Actually, it's a really interesting thing to see. I mean, of course, I don't agree with anybody's choices, but that's part of the fun of it. That it's a debate.
It's not. Ralphie and I are just kind of constantly looking at the data as it comes back in and going, oh, but we can't touch or shape or move or that. We have to represent what the people vote for. We have to represent what the core contributors put forward to the wider contributor base in order to give us our nominations. We have to respect all of these people's individual opinions, even if they are quite rightly, as you say, Roddy, wrong.
And yet, I'd have to disagree with you both.
Here's the
there's nothing better than having a dram and an argument about whiskey, is there? So
yes,
that's exactly. This is just like a big online argument about whiskey. My friend, do you have a wee red envelope available?
I do. So you want me to read the front of it first, eh?
I would like you, just for the sheer pomp and ceremony,
the drama.
Go right ahead.
All right. So the nominations for the 2023 Online Scotch Whisky Awards in the category of Best New Distillery are as follows: Ardnamurchan, Bimber, Isle of Raasay, Kingsbarns, Lag, and Lindores.
Right. All very worthy.
I'll open this. So the winner,
very organised.
It's called Going Equipped, Ralphie.
Yes, I should try.
And the winner is Ardnamurchan.
Ardnamurchan, my goodness!
Wow,
there we are. Now,
what did you say about Groundhog Day?
Groundhog Day. The power of democracy, the consistency of opinion over. Now we're looking at 3 years here. And there's no doubt about it. I was given a quote recently, Roy and Roddy, when I was in the Bon Accord, and I was chatting to someone in the industry, and I was asking them what separates distilleries in grabbing our attention span. And the response was, while some distilleries play checkers, other distilleries play chess. And I think the chess trophy must go to Ardnamurchan to come so far, so fast, with completely non-traditional marketing is quite impressive. And not just with the online contributors, but with the online audience and community.
What's your own take on Ardnamurchan, Roddy?
I'm an enthusiast. I've only ever I've got 2 cask shares, and one of them's Ardnamurchan, so that probably says enough. There's some friends we bought a cask collectively back in the first year, 2014, would it be 2015?
Wow.
Which is still not been bottled, and you know,
are we pals, Roddy?
Yeah, are we your mates?
I've got. I'm a member of the Adventurers Club, so I bought the bottle. That's
superb.
So yeah, I'm a big fan.
And you therefore think it's deserved in this context?
Well, I don't want to we've just announced the winner.
The reason I say that is because we raised a glass to get disagreement.
Yes.
So in order to let you off the hook and enjoy the rest of your night, I thought it might be nice to raise a glass to agreement. Occasional agreement.
Cheers, Roddy.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you, my dear friend, for stepping forward, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. And I know that
a pleasure.
Take care, Roddy. Cheers.
Thank you.
What a great guy.
Yeah, he's a gentleman. I mean, I've known Roddy from way back in the day when I first bumped him in one of the old Oddbins shops in the West End of Glasgow, when you could still actually buy Brora for £85 a bottle. That's how far back we're going now, Roy.
Well, we have an amazing win again from Ardnamurchan, and I think what we need to do now is work out if there's anybody willing to step forward from.
They're very progressive, positive, communicative people. I suspect they'll be happy to join us in the OSWAs. There's only one way to find out.
The A team of the Grahams and the Connells and the Carls, they're not available tonight, unfortunately. So, but the B team are here. So we've got Jenny Carlson.
Hello.
And we've got Alex.
Hello.
I don't know. What?
I'm only kidding, Jenny. Of course, you're the A+ team. Of course you are. You're the elite. You're top of the list. Of course you
Absolutely.
are.
We're the only ones that can be bothered to turn up.
I know.
Welcome to you both. Please take note. It was Roy that was cheeky, not me this time.
Absolutely. We know.
Congratulations.
We know who
Just
we know.
really, really congratulations. An amazing achievement. We are seeing it. Look how enthusiastic you're holding that up there as well. It's just I don't. It's the only word I can continue to use when I describe this thing is compelling. I know a lot of people talk about influence and online influence, and Ralphie talks about a different way to market and things like that. No, I don't agree with any of that. You're just making amazing whiskey, and you're not taking the mickey when you put it out into the market. It's not difficult.
Do you know, I'm a little bit annoyed personally because I'm sitting here working on a budget for 2024. I put loads of money in the marketing budget, but you've just broken that point because we don't do marketing. We don't do it.
You say you don't do it, and yet whatever's happening is enormously effective.
We like whiskey.
And I mean, really the question we want to ask both of you is, no pun intended, what is your secret sauce to your success?
It's him.
As well as the whiskey.
Ralphie, I think we have a lot of fun doing it. We're a close team. All the way from the guys up on the peninsula down to the guys in Fife who are putting it in bottle and putting the cork on top. And us kind of fly-by-nights who try and blend it and make it taste decent. We get on and we just have a lot of fun. And I think that's very important in life.
Yes. I commend you for your effortless modesty.
Yes.
As someone who has been single-handedly trained by Charlie McLean, I have no doubt that you are a very comprehensive and successful blender.
Yeah. I think it's one of the things that I enjoy as well about Ardnamurchan is that there is a real modesty. I know you said that with a wee bit of tongue in cheek there, but there's a real modesty and a real kind of awareness that they are part of a much bigger movement. They're not very. I don't know if I'm right or wrong there, Alex. If you would agree that you're very aware and very cooperative. And the amount of people that I've spoken to that say that they've spoken to you and you've been supportive of their endeavours going forward, even although they may be seen to be future competitors.
I mean, we all know this is a very friendly industry, born of blenders, and blenders need to talk to each other, and nothing's changed. It doesn't matter if single malt is a progressive category. The ethos of being together as an industry is still very much there. And I would absolutely always try and help if I can. I'm probably telling them the wrong things, but I would certainly pick up the phone.
Brilliant. Just wonderful. And I'm sure you wouldn't tell them the wrong things. You're just saying that to see if you can catch us out.
Jenny, honestly, you make a joke about making a pitch for a marketing budget for next year. I think that the way that you're marketing just now is to put liquid on lips face to face in front of people over a table at events and festivals and things like that, and social media and things. Are you going to get to the point where you're going to be marketing less and less whiskey? Are you going to get to the point where I'm just asking, now's your chance to pitch for that marketing budget, Jenny.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your help. I feel it. Thank you. We're turning 10 next year, and you should have seen Alex's face when I mentioned that to him because he had no idea. That was a few months ago. I said, we need to plan for the 10-year-old anniversary. And he goes, yeah, that's a while away. No, it's next year. Yeah, it's happening. And so us turning 10 next year means we do need to celebrate. But we're not going to be producing specially branded ashtrays or anything like that. That's not what we do. We'll be making whiskey to celebrate. Like, we will be blending whiskey the way we have been. And I'm tonight actually dramming the latest release of Rum edition, which is
right.
just nice.
I've yet to try your rum cask.
Sorry, yeah. So it's a nice rum anyway if you get a chance to drink it. But yeah, no, there is no need for a marketing budget. We're so happy that people enjoy our whiskey, and having to be nominated in this category is amazing. I wanted to say as well, like we were our chat when the blended Scotch came up was going live. We were so happy to be considered. We launched Maclean's Nose in, I don't know, like May this year, and we are in. You're the people around the world, your viewers, and have just picked up on it, and that just means that that makes us happy. It makes us very happy. Sorry, I'm struggling to find the words.
No, it must be very satisfying to know that in these modern times, that something like Maclean's Nose is not just being picked up on, but the speed at which it's been picked up on.
Yes.
And the feedback you must be getting as to the fantastic quality of what has been really a neglected category of Scotch whisky for the proactive sipper, the self-educated whiskey adventurer that takes their time and savors the moment, and they're looking to a blended whiskey, and seeing just even at a very young age, relatively young age, of how amazing the results can be.
Yeah,
I'm hugely impressed with it.
Yeah, it's amazing that Alex talks about blending and things, because even if you're making a single malt, a core range, a large batch, there's a lot of blending has to go on in order to do that. Whatever you guys are doing up there, however you're achieving it, the fact that you're willing to share that magic as well over the phone, Alex, or whatever it may be, all of it is just, to me, mystical and magical and wonderful. And when whiskey does go out of reach a wee bit, whether it's availability or whether it's price or positioning or market, whatever it is, to have products like Ardnamurchan coming up in the future and being relentless and bringing new and interesting releases all the time is very, very encouraging. I commend you on everything that you do.
Absolutely. And the fact that we'll be seeing you at Glasgow's Whisky Festival shortly.
Yes.
Well, but no, we'll be seeing is it the A team or the B team now? I don't know.
Come on, let's.
No, don't say anything, Roy. Things are going well. We managed to recover from that damage.
I have a question to ask you both, Jenny Carlson and Alex Bruce.
Roy, whatever.
Yes.
The bridges are burned. They cannot be rebuilt. I have a question to ask you for next year, for 2024. Will you return and accept your trifecta award for this category?
Well, do you want Carl and Graham and Connor?
Yeah.
Who do you want, Roy? I mean, who do you want?
I'm not biting anymore. I've
worked
out how much of a joke Jenny's willing to take and what she's not.
Roy, can I reply to that with a Charlieism?
Yes.
So we're talking Charlie McLean, seeing he's already been brought up by Ralphie. When he's asked that question, he has the most optimistic reply, which is, if we're spared.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. If we're spared. Of course we'll be spared.
Well, of course, the downside is you can't participate in the category next year. But interestingly, because you're 10 years next year, it would have been your last year anyway. So you managed to guarantee yourself with a fourth reward before you have to go and mix it with the big boys in the best distillery.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be challenging.
But you're already doing quite well there too. So listen, guys, it's just an amazing thing to be able to celebrate with you. It's an amazing thing to be able to for you to have achieved for such a young distillery as well. And I wish you all the very, very best for the future.
And thank you for joining us.
No, thank
To
you.
the A teams and the B teams and all the teams.
And thanks to everyone that voted. You're so kind. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you both for taking time. Thank you.
Slàinte.
Cheers.
So it looks like I've just lost a friend in Jenny Carlson.
Yeah, well, you know, it's all right. I'll do my best to repair the damage and build the bridges, which isn't probably particularly helpful, but there we go. Now I need a wee top up.
Well, what would you like? Would you like a wee bit more of this one that you loved a wee bit earlier?
Yeah, I did. I do really enjoy that, actually.
Yeah, it's delicious.
People will be whoa,
and people will be asking, "What is that you're pouring? What is that you're pouring?" Well,
yes,
we're trying to go non-brand tonight.
We're non-brand tonight, so just guesstimate it. That's what we're going to
Or ask me if I meet you and shake your hand, and I'll tell you what Ralphie was drinking tonight. Fantastic. Let's see how this breaks down, because I think Alex and let's we've got a wee guest here. Let's take a moment to get the
absolutely, yes.
I've got Mr. Thompson in from Dornoch. He's come in. If he's
he's off again.
He's back. So you see that wasn't a ghost. That was a real thing.
That was real. Yes.
So he's working it out. He's going to
there must be a storm up in Dornoch. Just to explain, ladies and gentlemen, one of our winners in the categories has tried to link up with this. He's coming back again. Get in quick, Roy. Get in quick.
Just give me a thumbs up, Simon, if you're good. It's good
Right,
to go. Okay, hello, Simon Thompson. We've missed your category, my friend. We've missed it. We were looking out for you to join, and there was blips happening in the background. We weren't sure if that was you or not. We did celebrate your win tonight. Simon, thank you for joining. And thank you and congratulations,
absolutely,
for a terrific and amazing win on your TBBSW tonight.
Cool. Yeah, thanks very much, guys. And my apologies for coming in a bit late there. Life got in the way a little bit, I'm afraid. But yeah, thank you.
It's connection. It's this connection that's causing the issues. It's okay. We know you're up in the wilds of we know what it's like up there in Sutherland.
Yeah, sorry, I do literally live in the middle of nowhere in the Highlands here. So, but thanks very much, guys. Yes, it's really appreciated to see the public nominations and the votings coming through, and just happy we can do something that people find value in, that people appreciate. So. Yeah, it's a great blend, and we should be able to keep it up for a little bit longer yet, and got more blends being worked away on in the background as well. So we've been having a whole lot of fun with blends in the last couple of years, and it seems to be working out not too bad for us.
It really is working out not too bad for you at all. And when you say you've got a little bit more, is that a little bit or a big little bit? How long do you think you can keep this little iconic brand that you have going this week?
Yeah. So for the BSW, I think we're probably got enough stock to do another 30,000 bottles, and so it really just depends how quickly that moves. And we've got our own kind of throughput capacity. We're always kind of maxed out on that. So you'll see us into 2024 for a bit. And then we're working on something to come in behind, because the stock we're using for BSW, it's kind of come in one big chunk. So we don't want to continue the brand as 6-year-old BSW after that and just kind of gradually dilute out what we've got. So we're kind of working on something strong to come in behind. Once that stock's finished, we'll maybe keep the BSW name, but it might be a case where we switch to a different age statement and make something that's clearly not the same stock that BSW's made from, just so there's no confusion that between the products there. So
and how are things coming along with Dornoch Single Malt?
Good.
Can we interrupt you here? Sorry, we need a congratulations here.
Do we?
Yes. They were. No, I don't want to steal your thunder. Sorry, you want to say it.
Yeah, let the man speak.
Sorry.
No. So
I'm going to.
I mean, I should probably answer a few questions on that, because we get a few questions on the go. But so we've just got planning permission to build a second distillery in Dornoch. The original Dornoch distillery is being kept. So we're not building a new distillery that will become Dornoch Distillery. The new distillery's got its own name, which unfortunately I can't share with you just yet. We're still just finalising some of the trademark things just to make sure that that's all covered before we put the name out into the wild. But there'll be 2 distilleries in Dornoch, Dornoch Distillery and our new distillery, which will be significantly larger, super energy efficient, but still basing our productions on the lessons learned from the original Dornoch distillery. So many lessons learned there in almost 7 years of production now. So it's gonna have 2 distilleries, which will keep us nice and busy. But your Dorn distillery is so tiny, we produce so little that we need to be able to do that on a bit more of a reasonable scale. And it's a long game, so it'll be a few years before you see any liquid hit the market for that. But yeah, Dorn distillery has been going well because of the success of the independent bottling, the blending, the gin. There's not been any pressure to put anything out before we're entirely happy with it. So we've only ever released 4 of our own casks, and then we've done quite a few others, which have been small casks that were either buybacks or partial buybacks from our original crowdfunders when we started up. So we've released quite a few of those through ballot direct on the website. But yeah, Dorn Distillery, I think it's looking very good, and very happy with the stock we've got coming in behind. So yeah, hopefully that'll be a wee treat and something super interesting for people in years to come. But it's only a tiny operation, so the quantities going out to market will always be very small until we've got our new distillery up and running and a good amount of aged stock in behind that.
Yeah, well, you're a very tiny operation with quite a big voice, because people really have picked up on your blended malt, your blended Scotch, and your independent bottlings, which are really getting noticed. And congratulations to yourself and your brother for bringing the energy that you do into the Scotch whisky scene.
Oh, well, thank you. We've got some pretty simple rules that we try and stick to. Find good liquid, try and get that out to people at a very good price, and do cool art. And those in combination kind of tick the boxes for most people. If they're getting good quality of liquid, which is representing good value for money, then we don't have to spend any money on marketing or pushing things out. We can pass those savings on, and it's good for us because it means that we have a really fast turnover in things, which means we can afford to line up the next one fairly quickly because our stuff just doesn't sit very long on shelves, which is great.
That's great, absolutely.
It's a wonderful place to be in, to have the Dornoch distillery maintained there and to have the new distillery granted planning permission. I know how much effort that took. I know how much work you did with the local community and everything to do the very best you could there. It's exciting for the future, Simon. It really, really is. I raise a glass to you now for everything that you've achieved there. But more than anything, for me, for a drinker who doesn't always, my finger is not always on the pulse in order to get these ballots, to get these releases that you have, for you to have brought out more and more expressions that are widely available and affordable and above all else delicious too, is just really fantastic for a whiskey enthusiast like me. And I think it's wonderful that you've been recognised in the Online Scotch Whisky Awards for it as well.
So on behalf of the Online Scotch Whisky Awards, Simon, congratulations.
Cool.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
The entire team. Cheers.
Yeah, glad it's appreciated, and we've got a small but strong team that can put all of this together. So so much of the work goes down to them, and to doing all the in-house bottling, all the in-house logistics, in-house blending. There's a lot of work that goes into it from all those guys. So as much as Phil's really good at putting together the blends, we've got a great warehouse manager and a great team that puts all this stuff together.
I look forward to the future, my friend. I look forward to it.
One final question: do you get a day off?
Yes, we do not too badly, really. In the earlier days, it was pretty wild, and recently it's been pretty manic with all the additional work. Because as soon as the planning was confirmed, we got the bit of paper, then that's kind of upped our workload a whole chunk. So, but in the last few years, we've been pretty good at managing the work-life balance, really. But yeah, we are pretty busy at the moment.
Fantastic. Listen,
yeah.
I wish you all the very best for the future, and I have a suspicion that we'll see you back here for future Online Scotch Whisky Awards.
Oh,
Thompson
I hope
Brothers.
so. Well,
cheers.
Thank you very much, Roy, and thank you very much, Ralphie.
Very welcome. Cheers to you. Cheers. Terrific. I'm glad he was able to make it in the end.
Absolutely.
Work it out. Superb.
And
It's
some real authentic contribution as well. Really enjoyed the little engagement
to the
there.
comment and the whiskey. Let's move back
Mhm.
to, I want to share these stats with you very, very quickly, but they are quite compelling. That's a word I used earlier for this category for
Mhm.
Ardnamurchan and the best new distillery. But here's how they fared as part of here's how the vote split went. Very high engagement, despite it being new distillery.
Mhm.
Only 17% of the people felt that they couldn't make a meaningful contribution and skipped. Coming in at sixth place, we've got Kingsbarns over there in Fife. Fantastic to see Kingsbarns being mentioned in the Online Scotch Whisky Awards. I fully expect that to grow in the future. Bimber, London Distillery, 5% an Online Scotch Whisky Awards favourite. It's
Yeah.
appearing again, making fifth place in the OSWAs this year. Lindors, another distillery over there in Fife, Lindors Abbey,
Mhm.
getting 6% of the vote as well. Again, another one I predict will be more and more embraced as time goes on.
Yeah.
It's just so much competition. There's so many new distilleries out there, but fantastic to see Lindors mentioned. Lag, when we did the OSWAs last year, Ralphie,
Mhm.
Lag hadn't even released a product.
No.
Or perhaps if they did, it was only just out there and available from the,
Mhm.
let's say when we started the OSWAs project in 2022 last year,
Mhm.
there was no product out there.
Yeah.
So they've been at it for a year and they're already in position 3.
Yeah.
Incredible to see.
And this is the Arden effect, because Lag Distillery is part of the Arden Distillery group, and a very different style of whiskey. But of course, a new distillery with access to all that existing experience and success in its sister distillery just up the road at the other end of the Isle of Arden.
Brilliant to see. A completely different character, as you say. All natural, 46, 50% ABV and higher.
Mhm.
Just wonderful stuff. Isle of Rassay, we made the mistake of them not being involved, you might remember, in the first ever nominations for a new distillery. The public spoke, put it at #1 for the People's Choice that year. And
Mhm.
here they are coming in with a very, very respectable second place, and 16% is second place. How can that be? Well, that's a lot of hard work, Rassay. You deserve that second place, but it's really, really tough when you've got this kind of popularity just down on the mainland there in the west.
That's a big margin.
That's just incredible to
Yeah.
see. That's 39% of the people who stepped forward to participate in the Online Scotch Whisky Awards put a vote forward for Ardnamurchan. When I say compelling, I mean compelling. Regardless, let's see how the People's Choice went forward. There's a tie in 10th place for Nicknean and Bimber. Nicknean is a new entry here in this category, and Bimber have slipped down a wee bit. Regardless, both still in the top 10. Glenwivis, a new entry, fantastic stuff. Really excited to see where things go. They've just recently released their 2019 edition. I loved and bought several bottles of their 2018 edition. Loved to gift it. Wolfburn, reached 10 years old now. So it's fantastic to see them recognised and climbing in the charts, climbing up from their 9th position last year to 8th this year, 10-year-old. So this is the last year that they can participate, I think, in new distilleries as a category. Cotswolds, slipped 5 places this year. Don't know why, can't put my finger on why. I suspect it's not about how much people are loving it, because they still are. I think it's more to do with the just sheer variety of new distilleries that we have going forward. Another English distillery, the 3rd in the top 10 so far, White Peak. So the Wireworks is the brand that's released from White Peak. You might not recognise it as White Peak, but it's Wireworks. Fantastic, delicious, tasty English whiskey. 5th place, Sky's second distillery, Torrevik, slipping a single position, but still a strong position at number 5. They're just about to release a cask strength version. Going to be interesting to see how that goes down.
Certainly on my radar.
Yeah. Isle of Rassay, wonderful. Look at the view here in this picture in the background. It's just, if you've got the ability to make the pilgrimage to Rassay, please do it. It's much easier than you might imagine. But more than anything, they're here not because of the pretty views and the location, but the whiskey that they're making. In the top 5, still a strong performance from Isle of Rassay, despite slipping. Now we see there's a lot of slipping happening here. Why is that?
Because there's new distilleries coming in, that's why.
Lag.
Yeah.
First year appearing in any Online Scotch Whisky Awards. That's you telling us. It's not just the fact it was nominated and put forward. It's you telling us that you like what lager doing, a really full-bodied, robust island style. Going to be interesting to see how that matures. They've started off on a very, very strong footing. Second place, Lochlee, the Stealth Distillery, famously, were ready to release by the time anybody knew that they even existed. Now they're releasing their 4 releases every year to do with the cycle of the farming year. Plus, they've got their our barley, they've got their cask strength now, plenty of whiskey to engage with, all reasonably priced, all fully natural. I think 5 places they've climbed up. They deserve to be there. They were not suggested as part of the nominations. They've made it there under their own steam. Fantastic to see. And this is when I talk about compelling. This is what I mean. We know who's number 1 here. We know. We don't even need to talk about it. It's, of course, Ardnamurchan. But this is just incredible.
I mean, look at that.
That's those. So there isn't a number against all of these wee blue bars, but they are visually representative. They do represent a ratio of votes. This is just if ever you need an example of how to do things well,
yes,
that's where to look. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we go forward, and I try and work out which vignette is up next. I know I'm pretty.
You're doing fine, Roy. You're doing fine.
Just either one will be skipped or one will be repeated. Anyway, we were late. Let's go on.
Hi everyone, it's Toby from Whiskey Shared here. I'm so grateful to Roy and Ralfy for letting me take part in the OSWAs again this year. It's such a valuable part of the whiskey calendar, and it allows us genuine fans to give real feedback to the industry. Best of luck to the nominees. Slanjavar.
Hey everybody, it's Menno from Multimission. I want to give a big shout out to everyone who voted in the 2023 OSWAs, to the guys who worked hard behind the scenes to make it all happen, to my fellow contributors, and of course to Roy and Ralfy, who got together for the 3rd time and gave us an award show we as a whiskey community can actually believe in. Thank you.
The OSWAs are coming in strong for their 3rd year, and for this achievement, I wouldn't be making any daft jokes. It's a nail-biting night full of surprise, shock winners, and saluting the whiskey community. Cheers to Roy, Ralfy, all the contributors, and everyone who voted for putting all the hard work in, making the OSWAs amazing. Cheers.
We love it, Jeff. We love it. Well done, sir. Bringing a bit of humour into the vignettes at the end. Brilliant. There's more and more of that happening.
He's a handy guy to have round, isn't he?
Right. Or a not very handy guy for the looks of things. Anyway, let's move quickly into this next category, which of course is Best Independent Bottler. This is something that is very close to Ralphie and I's hearts. It's not easy to review independent bottlings because a single cask doesn't spread very far. But independent bottlers these days are becoming much more innovative. Like Thompson Bros, we just spoke to Simon there. There's much more ways of them doing batch style, small batch style, bigger outturns and things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see if that affects things. Going forward, independent bottlers, how do we define them? Well, for us, we're privileged in whiskey that we can enjoy our favourite, not only through the official releases, but indies bring in their different take too. They focus on quality at a fair price, and we want to award the independents who have excelled. Fantastic. Let's jump over to somebody who's been waiting patiently in the background as we're running very, very late. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. You can come in and participate. My friend from across the Irish Sea, Jim Ingram, with a whiskey novice. Good to see you, James. I hope you're well. I hope you're very well.
Very well, thank you. I thought I was going to have to. I was planning to put on my phone voice, but then I was watching Thomas from the Bawn earlier, and I just thought, no, I'm all right. If you can understand him, you'll understand me.
Absolutely. I think a few folk didn't understand him, but we're still with you, definitely.
I think, Jim, there's enough. Your channel has been successful enough. There's enough folk out there that tune in to hear the Whiskey Novice and understand and enjoy your dulcet Irish tones. I'm going to let Ralphie enjoy those tones while I take care of some urgent business.
Right,
I'll be back very, very shortly.
Jim, He's bursting for a whiz. So I'm going to shuffle up a little bit and ask you a question. This is the best way to keep the continuity and the flow here in the OSWAs, because obviously, you know, we've got to... This is a third year. We should know what we're doing. So I'm going to ask you, fella, what has been your 3 highlights of the year from independent bottlers?
Oh,
that narrows it down quite a bit. I'm putting you in the spot here, and I'm aware of it. So I'm having a wee fill-in commentary while you have a think about it.
Well, no, I'll tell you actually one that stood out to me very recently.
Yeah.
And I'm literally talking in this last week. I was gifted a bottle, made its way into my grubby little paws, of Cadenhead Springbank 1987. And it just is mind-blowing. You know, to me, as I've described, it's a snapshot of A, Springbank in the past, and B, Cadenhead's going quite a bit back, because you know and I know single malt wasn't really the focus, you know, going back into even the 1980s. It was still, you were still looking at blends, etc. So for the likes of Cadenheads to take a Springbank then and make it this, and it is an incredible thing. And it's just, I mean, I absolutely love independent bottlers. I love what we get from them. I don't really want to wear my heart on my sleeve too much with indie bottlers, because I don't want to let people think that I'm swaying one way or another here. But I do love what Thompson Brothers are doing. I do love. I'm still a big fan of the SMWS. You know, and all of these, they're making what independent bottlers are doing for me, for us as whiskey enthusiasts, are releasing incredible whiskies at an incredibly good price. And what more could we ask for?
Right, so excuse me a second. Do you wash your hands?
I'm a wee bit disturbed how many 919 people just were aware that I had to go.
Right, I've just been asking Jim. Jim's just been telling me he's been given, just obtained this Cadenhead Springbank, and I'm just getting around to asking how much he paid for it, if they charged you, or is it a really good friend?
Would you believe I'll explain to you quickly where it came from. A gentleman came into our shop who doesn't like Scotch whisky much, and it was a little too much for him. And he gave me a sample of it, and I said, "How much do you want for the rest of the bottle?" And he said, "You can have it." And he gave me.
What?
So I bought him. I knew there was a bottle of Irish whiskey he wanted, so I bought him the bottle of Irish whiskey and gave him it.
Right. By the way, that sounds like a
good friend.
That sounds like you've made a sudden friend for life there. Did you ask him if he had any more?
Well, you know, he's got a Cadenhead's Kalila as well that I've sort of he doesn't. I know he doesn't like peated whiskey, so no, I don't want to wipe the guy's eye. This is the whole thing. So when I'm, you know, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't take something off the guy for nothing. So we'll see. There's a negotiation maybe to be had there.
Yeah. And do you have a red envelope? Wonderful.
I'm sorry to have held things up a wee bit there. Thank you guys for holding fort for a wee bit and having a wee chat.
So we're already running late.
But
it's fine.
We are excited to hear how we're doing in the best independent bottler category. Jim, Whiskey Novice, my friend, take it away when you're ready.
The nominations for the 2003 Online Scotch Whisky Award in the category of Best Independent Bottler are as follows: Cadenheads, Gordon MacPhail, North Star Spirits, Signatory Vintage, the Scotch Malt Whisky Society, and Thompson Brothers.
Fantastic.
Right, it's a good lineup.
It's a very good lineup.
Some omissions, I'd say, but yeah.
And the winner is...
No knives here. The winner is Signatory Vintage.
Again, my goodness. There we go. Thank you so much, Jim, for being our announcer, our nominations presenter. Really appreciated. And Signatory obviously have something like the same secret sauce as Ardnamurchan and the Thompson Brothers. We've got a theme here because none of these producers use conventional traditional marketing.
Before we let you go, Jim, what do you think of not only the fact that Signatory have won tonight, but the fact that they've now won it 3 times on the bounce.
I'm genuinely surprised. Actually, don't get me wrong, I do love what Signatory Vintage do, but honestly, given how popular Thompson Brothers are currently, as I said, the SMWS still never fail. Any one of them could have won it. We know that.
Yeah,
I'm genuinely surprised. However, that
Well,
Signatory
stick
have
around,
done
my
it.
friend, for these stats. It's going to be quite interesting for you to see the statistics that we share openly. The funny thing about the Online Scotch Whisky Awards is it's almost like people get a wee bit upset. I think generally, on all our life, we've worked out that we don't enjoy what we vote for, right? We're never happy with what we vote for. I think that what's happening here is consensus. And I think that 3 years in a row now, Signatory have not only been nominated, but I also have noticed with how much they've been represented in the People's Choice as well. It's not just commentators like Ralfy and Roy and everybody else that gets together, Jim Ingram and et al. It's everyone is able to buy a bottle of Signatory Vintage, to be able to enjoy it, not pay over the odds for it, and go back and buy another one. I think it's a bit of a sleeper independent bottler for me. It's interesting. Regardless, we have our 4th trifecta.
We do. Trifecta time. Here's the certificate. Showing it again. Just so it's a real thing.
Jim, I'm going to raise this wee glass to you to say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for spending your Saturday night with us. Thank you for sitting around in the background while we run so late. But as Ralphie said, it's the OSWAs. What did people expect?
Absolutely. And thank you for engaging in conversation while my colleague, bless him, went for a comfort break. Cheers.
Gentlemen,
I look forward to seeing you in Glasgow next week, Jim. Cheers.
You too, guys. Cheers.
Let's head straight over
to
representative, an ex-commentator on whiskey, I have to say, Andre at Signatory Vintage. Congratulations, Andre, once more.
Hello.
There it is.
Hey, you have received your certificate.
Yes, of course.
Your
Thanks
third
a lot for that. I just have one. The other one is in the bottling hall, and the first one is in the office. So no,
right. So you're spreading them around a bit. Now, tell me, what do you think is the secret to Signatory's success when it comes to a popular democratic vote of popularity?
It's nearly worldwide available. It's not, it's affordable, and there are all kinds of whiskey in the range. So you have the peated stuff, you have the bourbon cask, you have the sherry cask. This year we had Bulgarian red wine Tinic in the core range, which is also not usual to have something special like that available for a whole year. And on top of that, we are doing some specials. So maybe you've seen this year we had Signatory small batch, we called it, with 48.2% ABV. So there were mixed bourbon and sherry casks. We had a Mortlach and the Glenrothes. This was also, this giving
these
something
small
extra.
are going to help you spread the stock even wider, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And at the moment we are working on a new range. Not a range that is always there, just something special again, 100 proof series. To get most of the casks are, even after 10 years, they are at 65% ABV or something like that.
Yeah,
too much for some people, and these casks, we will bring them down to 57.1%. So then
100 imperial proof. Good. Yeah, fantastic. Listen, Andre, I want to ask you a question, because you made a very welcome announcement that sent the online community chatter alight when you were on the Online Scotch Whisky Awards last year in 2022, accepting this very same award. You made an announcement that Signatory Vintage would change their philosophy somewhat, and they would no longer release any sub 46% ABV products, that they wouldn't chill filter anything going forward. Is that still the case? Is that still part of your directive? How's that decision gone?
It's we stick with it, and we are just selling the remaining tubes for this 43% ABV range. So there are, from time to time, we are doing bottling just a batch of three casks or something like that. But once they're sold out, there won't be any chill filtered stuff. So, and it's
when they're gone, they're gone.
Yes, exactly.
Lovely.
I think it's testimony to your availability, to your decades of dedication, to the passion from you, Andrew, the team there at Signatory, and your pragmatism, the balance between good quality whiskey, availability and affordability. These are the things, these are the founding, the cornerstones, if you like, of the OSWAs, and there is a theme throughout the winners, I think, and you embody that. It's clear.
Along with a practical and consistent presentation, which is easy on the label for people to interpret.
Yeah, absolutely. That's we don't have a marketing department, so there's nobody working on marketing. The label of the unschiffered collection is quite simple. You have everything necessary is on there.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Fantastic. Really amazing. Andre, congratulations. The only question that we have left to ask you is that will you return? You're guaranteed, if you return in 2024, you're guaranteed an award. Will you return in 2024 to accept your trifecta?
Yes, of course, we will. And thanks to everyone voting for us, by the way.
And thank you for joining us, Andre.
Yes, of course.
And I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Terrific stuff. Good stuff. Okay, let's quickly go through just how much of the ratio that these guys enjoyed in winning this category. It's up. No votes on this one, 16%. So we can see fairly high engagement considering it's an independent bottler. Independent bottling, they don't always enjoy distribution because of the scale of their operation. So it's not global, it's not cross-border, but yet we're Scotch whisky fans, Scotch whisky lovers, so we do try and track it down. North Star Spirits come in 6th place with 7% of the vote. They have performed higher in the past. North Star have been a wee bit quiet of recent, I suspect. SMWS, 11% of the vote. Some people complain about the pay-to-play aspect of that, but SMWS are doing great things at taking unknown distilleries to people who would never otherwise be able to access them.
Yes.
Right across North America, and they're able to sip Manickmores and Chininics and all of these incredible things that they wouldn't otherwise have access to. Cadenheads, 13% of the vote. And this time around, famously, they were missing from the 2021. That was when they made the decisions to change their model in Europe. A lot of miscommunication there, a lot of misunderstanding, but they're back in and they're performing well now. In 4th place here. 3rd place, Gordon and MacPhail. They've just put out an announcement this year to suggest that in the future, they're not going to be independent bottlers, but I guarantee you the depths of stock that they have is vast. It's not something that anybody should be worrying about right now. We judge everything based on price and availability. That means that 2nd place goes to the tiny little operation up in Dornoch. We just had Simon on. 2nd place goes to Thompson Brothers. And look at the margin here. 1,600 votes voting for Signatory Vintage.
So it was close.
Said Ralfy tongue-in-cheek. Listen, this is not Ralphie's votes. It's not Roy's votes. It's not your votes. It's not Andrew's votes or Jim Ingram's votes. This is everybody's votes. And if we talk about everybody's, here's the people choice. Here's the top 10 countdown. This is us. We've crunched the data. We've put it all together and we share it with you here. Let us know what you think of this. We've got a 3-way tie. Very interesting. And 2 of them are new entries. The Ultimate Van Wees, Dutch independent bottler, 2nd time around. They've slipped a wee bit down from position 7 to 9 this year, but they're still in the top 10 chart. Master of Malt, a new entry. In the last year, they've been very, very active, very oddball, very good value, very interesting releases from Master of Malt. Put it on the radar of a lot of enthusiasts, and they love it. Carnmore as well. I'm surprised we don't see more Carnmore. It's great to see them finally breaking through into the People's Choice top 10 this year. And I hope to see more of them going forward. That's Morrison Distillers that own the Carnmore brand. In position 8, we've got James Eady. Slipped down a wee bit this year, but still a good, strong position, considering the size and the scale of the operation. Get great access to a lot of Diageo stock, it seems. There's a lot of, as I say, Manic Moors and the Tuninics and the Glenords and Glendullins and things we see from those guys, and it's fabulous liquid when you get, especially when it's they do a lot of kind of rich cask stuff too, but there's a lot of gentle stuff that I like. Refill. The Delphi owners of McLean's Nose at Ardmarkin Distillery, they're going to be mentioned throughout tonight, of course, as you've already seen. They're a brand new entry in at number 7. People enjoying the Delphi releases too. Elixir, what a fantastic position for such a small, relatively small independent bottler. I wonder how much that's to do with the independent bottlings from Single Malt of Scotland range, and maybe it's more to do with Port Askeiggs and elements of Islay, things like that as well. Regardless, a fantastic performance for Elixir. Number 5 is a tie. Sorry, it's a joint 4th position then between Scotch Malt Whisky Society, moving 2 places up the running, and Douglas Lane slipping a place, but still a super strong performance from one of the most popular independent bottlers out there at Dougie Lane. The Douglas Lane and SNWS tie number 4. 3rd position, Cadenheads, slipping 2 places. They were our People's Choice winner in 2022.
Yes.
Once people started to understand the real reason behind their change, the real reason why they were doing things, they made sure that they spoke and they put it at the top of the chart last year. They've slipped a wee bit, but they're still in the top 3. Where does that leave us? Who's left? Thompson Brothers moved 2 places up to 2nd place. So this is not the nominations. This is not where they were 2nd in the nominations, 2nd to signatory, but your pick is 2nd as well. You could have written anything you wanted in that field and you wrote the words Thompson Brothers. Let's see who you picked as number 1. It's a surprise in as much as who's here and who's not here. Number 1 is, of course, Signatory Vintage. Where is Gordon MacPhail?
Where is Gordon MacPhail? The largest. I think this is down to their public announcement that they were no longer operating.
There is a backlash to that. There is a backlash to it.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I don't want to reflect on who's not there, though. I think we need to reflect on the fact that Signatory are up there. That's a huge margin. Listen, there's only 85 votes in the top place, but that's just because the sheer amount of independent bottlers there. This is a free text range, and you're also asking somebody to take an action, to step forward and to type something in that field. Note for the future how much you can affect these results by taking that action. You really, really can. Okay, let's keep moving.
Got to keep moving, Roy.
What vignette number are we on now?
I've no idea. You've got your hands.
Have you seen this fella? I apologise if I repeat that.
Hello Whisky fans, and thank you to everyone who's contributed in this year's OSWAs, everyone who's voted, and everyone who's turned up for this live stream. You're doing a great job showing all of the whisky producers that us enthusiasts exist, and that we talk, and that we matter. Each and every one of you is a whisky hero. Thank you once again, and enjoy the show.
Good evening, whiskey lovers. This is Wade from McIntyre's Malts, and I'm so stoked to play a part in the Online Scotch Whisky Awards this year. Thank you to Roy and Ralfy and each and every one of you that makes this wonderful community what it is. A voice for us, by us. It doesn't get much better. Cheers.
Hey, it's Jeremy from Sippers Social Club. Once again, super excited to be a part of the Online Scotch Whisky Awards and see this thing growing every single year. I can't wait for the day where I buy a bottle of whiskey and I see a little OSWAs sticker on it celebrating its Whiskey of the Year win. Super excited, guys. Roy, Ralphie, you're the best. Cheers, everyone.
Spent the last minute trying to work out which vignette I've skipped, and
we're doing fine. We're doing fine.
I apologise to anybody's vignettes who don't make it tonight. It's down to my mistake. Anyway, let's power forward. We've got another category to go through tonight. Second, penultimate category. We're getting there, Ralphie.
We are getting there.
World Whisky. Now, this is the least engaged, I would say, over the course of the OSWAs, but I would say it's probably one of the most exciting because there's new things bursting onto the scene in world whisky all the time.
There is.
Is it enough to attract the attention of the Scotch malt whisky community, the Scotch malt whisky drinker? We don't know. This is what this category represents. What we're talking about here is the explosion in world whisky. We're talking about the proliferation. The category recognises the phenomenal growth in whisky globally, celebrating products from any country and anywhere. It must be designed as whisky. That's all we ask. We don't care how it's spelled, as long, in this context, that it's not Scotch. We're going to reach out to my pal from down south, who I'm hoping to get to meet for the very first time next week, but he's been sitting waiting patiently. I'm going to welcome in Jeff from Jeff Whisky with the incredibly small hands.
Not now. Something's morphed.
Are you muted, my friend?
I'm not now. Yeah, my hands have grown slightly now.
Hello.
Good evening. How are you both?
Wonderfully well, thank you.
We're doing well, Jeff. How are you?
There's not any toilet breaks you need to do now because I'm not ready for that level question that you asked Jim.
Right, sure.
Don't
worry about it. I've tied a knot in it, by the way, and I know that the show's going on a little bit longer, but people are quite happy because it lets them pour another dram and enjoy the experience for a little bit further.
Yes.
And it's great. We've got a really good flow. I think that it's really fascinating to see the third Online Scotch Whisky Awards actually unfold live, where you can now see what's remaining favourites and what's coming in, what's appearing, and what's going to be tomorrow's favourites. So we're now in that position to overview what's going on. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us, Jeff.
Yeah.
I always love the bright colours that we have with Jeff. It's almost, he brings this kind of tropical vibe, you know, this really kind of, some people say disco, some people say, but what I'm enjoying more than anything about your content, Jeff, is how easy it is to watch. The humour in it, the way it's edited, the way it's put together, it brings a lot of fun. It brings a real sense of it's accessible and it's really super easy and enjoyable to watch. One of my favourite channels out there, buddy. You know that. I know that I'm not just being grateful for you stepping forward. It's a pleasure to have you as part of this initiative as well. But it's always a pleasure to catch up on your content. Keep it up, my friend. Please keep it up.
I'll try my best. I'm still young, so it should be quite easy now.
Well, we hope so.
The reason it's a good job I'm wearing sunglasses because you could bring a tear to my eye being nice like that.
Yeah.
Don't do it again.
Yeah, here's to being young.
Absolutely. And here's to your mildly psychedelic environment.
You're brilliant. Brilliant.
I can't turn it down if it's too painful.
No, it's brilliant. It's perfect. Have you got a wee red envelope to add to that?
I do indeed. It turned up a couple hours ago, so we're cutting it fine.
It was cutting it fine, was it?
It was indeed, but luckily the postman still does arrive down in Somerset. We don't have cars yet, but we still got a postie.
Terrific. At your leisure, my friend. Take it away, Jeff.
So the nominations for the 2023 Online Scotch Whisky Awards in the category of Best World Whisky are as follows: Blue Spot 7-year-old Cask Strength, Indri Trini 3-wood, Cavalan Solist Vino Barrique, Nika Yoichi, Powers John Lane, and Wild Turkey Rare Breed.
Rightio.
I've come prepared.
Yes.
I want to damage my soft hands.
Absolutely. With your fierce little weapon there.
Yeah, it struggled, but we made it. So the winner is Wild Turkey Rare Breed.
Right. Okay. Here we go again.
So now this has happened before. It has happened where we've had Redbreast, Aaron in the past winning 2 categories in the same OSWAs.
Mm-hmm.
But this is interesting for me to see. This is super interesting for me to see. Jeff, have you tried Wild Turkey Rare Breed?
I've not had Rare Breed. I'm a big fan of 101.
Yes.
Yeah, mind blank. Really big fan of that, and it's so cheap. So Rare Breed is well and truly on the hit list now.
Well, 58.4% versus the 101's 50.5%. But I've tried the two of them side by side, and it's remarkable how similarly different they are, if that makes any sense at all. And I suspect it's not just the ABV. I need to work out why. What's fascinating and interesting to me about this, why is Wild Turkey so, because Wild Turkey Rare Breed has won an OSWA in the past before.
It has.
I think it was a non-malt it won in the past previously. Yep. And there is something about the Wild Turkey brand or the Wild Turkey style of bourbon that seems to connect with the Scotch malt whiskey drinker or the Scotch whisky community. I don't know if it's just availability or if it's just because they feel that that is where the good value is. But we've got Wild Turkey winning 2 categories in tonight's, and there is nothing Ralphie and I can do to change that.
It's democracy.
It truly, truly is.
Having said that, it's a damn good bourbon. And that particular version is excellent, because I bought a bottle and reviewed it, because it's part of my little policy now on Ralphie.com in the bothy that I buy the winners and then review them and give my opinion. And it might not agree with the consensus, but hey, that too is democracy.
Jeff, keep your good looks and good humour around, and you can stay with us for the presentation, the stats on this one. I'm going to bring this in again so we can go through and try and make sense of this thing. But this is how the votes split out in 2023. No votes. This is world whiskey, and we're in the Scotch whisky community, so you can expect to see, much like the blend categories and non-malt, a high participation of people choosing not to vote in this. That's good, because it means the quality of vote that for the people who do stay is better. In 6th place, Indri Trini. A brand new example. I've only heard about Indri in the last year. Ralphie's already reviewed it. I've bought multiple bottles of it. I'm glad to have it around for the price that it is. I would recommend it to lots of people. I think it's a fantastic thing to have around. If you're into flavour and contrasts and different things, it's fully natural, fully transparent as well. Wonderful stuff. 7% of the voting, 6th place. Powers John's Lane, one of my top 2 favourite single pot still Irish whiskies. Powers John's Lane, 9% of the vote. 46% as well. Natural presentation for the most part. We don't know about colour, sure, but great to see it in 5th place. Nikko Yuichi, Japanese, maybe making something of a comeback a little bit there. Nikko Yuichi and its neighbour Miyagikyo is doing quite well. It's quite expensive, this stuff. It's £75 now, but you taste it and you realise that it's just good whiskey. 3rd place, second time mentioned tonight, second time in our nominations, Blue Spot, but it only makes it into 3rd place with 13% of the votes in the world whiskey category. Beaten out in 2nd place tonight by Cavalan Solist Vino Barrique. Shocking, amazing to me that the most expensive whiskey in the OSWAs categories, £200 a bottle if you and I wanted to go out and taste this.
No, I wouldn't pay the money.
£200. But there are people going out and deciding that it's worth the money.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth the money.
Well, I'll tell you that at £55, Wild Turkey Rare Breed with 928 votes is worth the money.
Is worth the money, absolutely.
Is worth it. So that's what you voted for. That's how the votes split up. Jeff, if you're still happy to sit, I'll let you know live what the people's choice is on this category. Redbreast makes it in at number 10. Now, this is a 12-year-old at 40% ABV, but this is a new entry in this particular chart this year. Balcones, still in the top 10. Balcones Single Malt, it slips down quite a bit this year. But for such a small kind of, you have to track this stuff down, basically. This is amazing to see it in the People's Choice again in 2023. Cavalan Solist Vino Barrique, it's making it into the People's Choice. This is, as Ralphie and I have already commented on, it's expensive whiskey. I almost want to go and nip out to the Bonaccord and try a wee glass of it. Maybe I'll do that later tonight. I'll see you there. I'll tell you what you think of it. Maybe I'll get some. Powers John's Lane, one of my favourites, as I've already disclosed. It also makes it in to the People's Choice at position number 7, just slipping one place, but still holding strong. Blue Spot, 3rd Irish in the mix. Single pot still Irish cast strength. 2nd time it's been mentioned tonight. Doing quite well, beating its stablemate Powers John's Lane in its position 6. Nikko Yuichi beats that ever so slightly again, just by a nudge. making it into 5th place. Both the Blue Spot and the Nika are both new entries. 4th place, Cotswold's Signature. This was our winner last year. Slipped down a wee bit. I don't know why. Maybe we're taking this thing for granted. Cotswolds are continuing to bring great whiskey, great value, widely available too. I would take great heart from the fact that they've managed to maintain a top 5 position in this particular chart. And from nowhere, in pops this Indri. They've got batch information on the back. They've got 46%. They tell you it's natural colour. They tell you it's non-chill filtered. They tell you everything you want to know. And all you have to do is buy a bottle and try it. And at 39, 41, 42 pounds at the most, it's great value too.
Very good value.
Here is the Wild Turkey Rare Breed, making it in 2nd place in the People's Choice. So that's an endorsement of the votes, but something has beaten it. We know what's beaten it, don't we? Last year's winner. It's still about, people still love it. Redbreast, 12-year-old cask strength.
There we go.
I can tell you that, look at that, 30 votes was enough to give it 1st place in the world whiskey category. It beat the Wild Turkey Rare Breed by a single vote. People, if you are taking the time and investing in creating an account in order to participate in the OSWAs, think a little. Be part of the community. You're very vocal in the comments in Ralphie's channel and my channel. Everywhere I interact with the whiskey community, everybody's very vocal. We all have our opinions. We know what we love and we want to share that. Do it in the OSWAs, the Online Scotch Whisky Awards, because you can see how little effort it would take to make a real difference to these numbers. Put in what you are enjoying. Ralphie and I will crunch the numbers and we'll share with you what it is. What do you think about that? Is it a surprise, Jeff?
I'm glad to see Cotswolds in there because, as you said, I think they have been taken for granted a bit. Like the single malt signature, whatever they've called it now, is like a bargain. It can often be picked up at under £30, but it just shows I need to up my game and get more wild turkey down me.
Well, I hope that when that happens, and when Jeff Whiskey, when the channel does a review of Wild Turkey Rare Breed, I hope that I get to witness that. That would be fun to watch.
And thank you very much for joining us, Jeff.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor being with you both, you know.
Oh, stop it.
Jeff, I look forward to seeing you in Glasgow, my friend. I can't wait to finally raise a glass with you. It doesn't come soon enough. Thank you for participating tonight. Thank you for your support, for your positive words, and for everything you positively bring to the community. Jeff, cheers.
Cheers.
Great guy, great fun. Good to see him here. Okay, and we need to really think about powering forward. Am I on my 2nd from last? Can it be that? I have really lost the plot when it comes to these vignettes. Let's see.
From the world of Irish whiskey, here's to the Online Scotch Whisky Awards and all its worthy contenders. Sláinte.
Greetings. Tonight we celebrate you, the voter, the participants, and of course the winners on this Online Scotch Whisky Awards. And we dream to say thank you for the passion, the conversation, and of course to all the winners. And tonight, whiskey is a winner. May your glass always be full with your favorite dram. Cheers.
Hi, it's Graham Skinner from Malt Review here. Really grateful for everyone that's put their votes into this year. Without you, this really wouldn't be the People's Whisky Award. Thank you.
Terrific stuff. Thank you to everybody for taking the time to put forward a video. If I've missed someone tonight, I'm going to take a stab at the vignette a wee bit later that I might have missed.
Right.
So it's probably going to mean that I'm repeating some. Regardless, let's power on with the final, and the one that probably everybody's been waiting about for tonight is the best Scotch whiskey. We save it till last. So anything goes as long as it's Scotch.
Yeah, it's a big category. It's a biggie. So we need a big personality to introduce it.
There's a lot going on here. When you talk about best Scotch whiskey, you can literally put anything forward. But this is how we define it. Scotch whiskey should be something that's attainable, offers value, and is representative of the best the category has to offer. Here we celebrate our Scotch whiskey community with Scotch whiskies that are loved. I'm going to head over to somebody who's been waiting awfully patiently for us to bring her in. She's waiting in the background, and I'm very, very grateful to welcome one of my pals in whiskey. Just a tremendous ambassador for the Scotch whisky community, Julie Hamilton. Julie, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Hello,
thank you. How are
Julie.
you? Hi, Ralphie. How are you?
Wonderfully well. Thank you very much for your patience there. The OSWAs, as is now the tradition, rumbles on a little bit longer than anticipated and expected. However, we do appreciate that it allows the viewers to pour an extra dram or two. So
Absolutely.
I suppose that compensates.
But of course, we have to be aware that we're hogging your Saturday night, Julie.
Yes.
We're very, very grateful for it. Thanks for your patience. How are you doing? Are you well?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, I'm good. I'm good. We're the last week before the Whisky Festival, so it's all go just now. So really busy, but exciting because it's coming round hard and fast. So
that's right.
Yeah.
So Julie's here. Obviously, Julie's involved in Decadent Drinks, but she's here tonight supporting the OSWAs as part of the Glasgow Whisky Festival. She's one of the directors, and I can't wait to hang out. This is the highlight of the year next week for me, Julie. So I'm grateful for all your frazzled nerves and anxious last-minute arrangements. Right?
It's a lot of work.
It is. It is.
It's worth it though. It's worth it. I think, just to get everybody together in one place is just brilliant. So I'm excited for it this year. I think it's going to be a good one.
Excellent.
We're both looking forward to it, aren't we?
Yeah. I'll be there.
You will be.
I have been invited, which means I've not been barred. So
it's always good. Julie, I know it's things are going on a wee bit, but I don't want to rush this because it's a big deal. It's the best Scotch whisky.
Yeah.
You've got your wee red envelope, haven't you?
I do.
Okay. Tease us. Go on.
All right. So the nominations for the 2023 Online Scotch Whisky Awards in the category of Best Scotch Whisky are as follows. Benroma Cask Strength, Bunnahabhain 12-year-old Cask Strength, Glen Scotia Victoriana, Lechik 18, Port Charlotte 10-year-old, and Springbank 10-year-old.
Right.
Drum roll for this one.
Yes.
I didn't come prepared with a letter opening tool. So, the winner is Springbank.
It's the biggie. It's the big one.
Oh. Say it again, Julie.
It's Springbank 10.
Oh my goodness.
Incredible. Now, this was not intentional, but I think I needed to draw attention to something. Would you've been into whiskey for a wee while now? Shall we say that? Shall we say a wee while?
Yeah.
And you have never worked for Janie Mitchell.
No.
You have never worked for Springbank, and yet you have a wee tattoo.
I do.
You are a whiskey fan. You're a whiskey enthusiast. You've worked for many whiskey companies. You've worked for Elixir. You've worked for SNWS. Working for Decadent Drinks, for the Glasgow Whisky.
Yeah.
You're the one of the main participants holding together the Glasgow Whisky Club, and that wee tattoo is a very specifically shaped S, isn't it? There is something magical about the wee tune.
Just on my right arm here.
There we go.
There you go.
Have you had any issues with breach of copyright?
No, thankfully it's all been fine. I don't show it off that much.
Righto. Well, we're very privileged to see your tattoo.
Would that mean that you approve of the result in tonight?
Wholeheartedly, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's quite
delighted
incredible
with that result.
Can I also mention, Julie, the most inexpensive whiskey in the nominations tonight won the category.
That's great.
Which explains a couple of things. Probably how much it's loved, how good quality it is how much it's loved, but obviously the affordability. But also explains why it's probably so difficult to get a hold of. because it's priced honestly and realistically.
And still getting the recognition through the democratic voting process.
Yeah.
And that's it. It shows, doesn't it? Yeah.
Speaks for itself.
Well, we're going to share, if you're still around a wee bit later, Julie, we'll share how the vote split went down and what people thought of this result. But Julie Hamilton, thank you for all your efforts in whiskey, the positive contribution you make to the entire scene. It's wonderful to have you around, and it's been brilliant to have you as part of the OSWAs tonight as well. Thank you for your patience.
See you all next week, hopefully.
Yes.
Here's the
Cheers.
next week. Cheers, Julie.
Cheers.
Magic. Look out for her and say a wee handshake and gratitude to her for everything that she does, along with Mark and Thomas, organising the Glasgow Whisky Festival.
It's a very successful whisky festival because it brings so many of the smaller distilleries and many of the independent bottlers into one venue in Glasgow, in the home of Scotch whisky. That is Scotland. And there's an awful lot of work involved and supervising and managing the event. And I think that the folks in the team at Glasgow's Whisky Festival, with the support, Roy, of Glasgow's Whisky Club, who volunteer to help out, do an absolutely amazing job. If you can get a ticket, folks, get a ticket. It's well worth it.
And it's hard to get a ticket. You need to be on the ball 10 minutes, 10, 11 minutes.
Well, it's exactly the same with Springbank, isn't it?
Same with Springbank. Talking of
Talking of Springbank, yes.
Let's go over to David Allen in the Washback Bar.
Oh, hello, David.
Hello.
Hello. Congratulations. I take
Thanks
it the team have now abandoned you.
They're not quite out the door just yet. So they're not too far away. But we've decided to go for a headphone scenario here just to make sure
to remove the echoes.
Has it helped?
Oh, it's brilliant. We can see you and we can hear you. Absolutely.
Good.
I mean, Ralphie and I don't mind the echoes and the fact that you're all in there celebrating together. Don't feel the need to make everybody shut up. I know what it's like. I was trying to broadcast from there a few weeks back. It's very, very tricky. But honestly, what we want to do is just welcome you on and say congratulations. I mean, David, we've seen you 3 times in one category. You know, best distillery. We've seen you 3 times in the OSWAs in 2023 for blended malt, for distillery, and deservedly so, I have to say, for the best. I've got a title up here that says best world whiskey. There's my typo.
Which means Springbank is the first triple trifecta.
First triple trifecta. There we go.
Yes, that's quite an accomplishment. And this raises the very interesting situation that in next year, the 2024 Online Scotch Whisky Awards, with Springbank sitting out as a trifecta recipient, which other distillery is going to be coming forward? Because Springbank's reputation is so dominant because of the specific and particular way that Springbank brings whiskey to the world.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see, because while they'll have to sit out in best distillery category, they're still going to be able to participate in all the other categories. This is the first time Springbank 10 has ever even been nominated. It's just never been nominated. And people say, why would you nominate something? David, permit me to speak here. Why would you nominate something that you can't buy? I'm sorry, these days in the UK, you can buy it now, because if you miss it at retail, nobody's making a lot of money on Springbank 10 at auction now. It's going for very, very, very small margins. So if you really want it, you can pick it up. But what I've noticed is I think it's maybe your same opinion with you, David, starting to stick longer on the UK shelves. What the problem I think is happening is globally, what we're seeing is people having to pay $150 on the west coast of the US from unscrupulous retailers, or from across Europe and things like that. People who are just chancing it, or just because the fact that they have it there are charging a bit more. It's a difficult challenge for you, isn't it, David?
It certainly is, and that is the biggest challenge for us. We want to work with people all the way through our supply chain who are going to represent us and our values and make sure our whiskey ends up with the people who want to drink it, not the people who want to flip it, see it as a commodity. And it's a difficult position to be in. But I suppose it's better being in this position than the alternative, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
Completely. And to get this accolade again, it's fantastic for us, and I think well deserved. And although necessarily people can't vote for Springbank next year, there's another distillery that's pretty close to my heart, Glengyle. So maybe we'll start turning the attention onto there.
Plug as winners get to have a plug. No worries.
I'll plug away.
Listen, I think it's difficult. You cannot be punished for being successful. You cannot be punished for doing the right things. It's what you talked about there is this would be your choice. I remember speaking to somebody on Isla about how many Isla distilleries there are now and how it's going to be difficult housing and infrastructure and all the pressures and everything that this whiskey boom brings to the small island. And the woman turned round to me and she said, I remember a time when we couldn't sell our whiskey, and I'd rather have these challenges than that.
Yeah,
100%, 100%.
Yeah. So, what the challenges you're dealing with are very, very positive things. And I know that you're stepping up, increases in capacity from 2018, all of these things. Springbank is hard to get because it's good and because it's honest. Springbank is just one of the most, the best examples I think we could have to anybody wondering how to succeed in malt whiskey in the long term.
Totally.
It's not short-term opportunism with you guys. It's very belligerent and stubborn at times, but it's a long game strategy, and the people support it. It's clear that they do, and I'm going to show you some stats tonight to back that up, David.
Yeah. And to add to what Roy said, David, Scotland and British industry should never take the reputation of Scotch whisky for granted. Reputations are made, but reputations are also lost. And the best way to hold on to a reputation is to remind people of why it is there. And Springbank, more than any other distillery, achieve that.
Amen. I'd quite agree with you there.
Yeah, I knew you would.
David Allen, to you, to Finlay, to Ranald, to everybody at the team, the wonderful people that I got to interact with, Ralphie got to interact with, to record these thousands review celebration videos, to all of it, to everything that you're doing down there. It's just, your time has come, and I would love your time to hang around for a long time to come as well.
Absolutely.
It's thoroughly, thoroughly deserved. You're employing how many people there at that distillery?
Well, it kind of ebbs and flows, but we're still over 100 anyway, and we are set up to continue making whiskey and run our business in this way that's going to support our community. You'll all be aware that Mr. Wright passed away a couple of months ago now. But in terms of the way the business is run, the distilleries run, nothing's changed. We are still run to ensure that Springbank is going to be here for the people of Campbelltown for, my children, their children, decades to come.
Good.
Here's to a wee bit more of that throughout our industry, David.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Congratulations.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you for joining us. We really hear it. Oh, for goodness sake. Oh, for goodness sake. Someone phone the police.
Somebody's under that pile deep.
Yes. Right. Who's got the first aid kit?
I recognize so many faces. Fantastic. Thank you, guys. Go on and have a party. You thoroughly deserve it.
Absolutely.
Brilliant stuff. Only Springbank could pull that off.
Yes. That's a first.
I was thinking, well, where is everyone? They're all been sitting patiently waiting in the background for that to come off. I know how much it means to those folk. We've got a distillery making 260,000 litres per annum. That's all they make. It's tiny, and able to produce, able to employ, 100 people while they produce that amount of liquid.
Now, if we translate that volume of production to people employed, if every distillery in Scotland worked on the Springbank model, there would be considerably wealthier communities right up and down the length of the Scottish Lowlands, Speyside, Highlands, Islands, and Islay. It's significant.
I think it is significant. I think it is, and I think we can. I mean, they wouldn't be special if everybody did it. They are special. They are very different. Their model is different. Everything about them is different. But what's amazing is they're able to make absolutely gorgeous whiskey too.
And not only that, Roy, but unless there are unscrupulous retailers, as you mentioned earlier, who are plundering the situation, who should be called out, who should be named and should be shamed on social media, responsibly shamed, responsibly named, and made to account and partially boycotted. It's easy to find out who these sort of people are.
Call it out.
Call it out.
Call it out.
Absolutely. Call them out.
Ralphie and I have talked about how we can use a call-out system on the OSWAs website as well to unscrupulous retailers in order to raise a flag to people who should maybe consider whether retailers want to be retailers and enjoy wholesale privileges, or they want to play in the secondary market game.
Yeah.
I don't, some people are able to do both and there's justifications for it. I hear it, but none of them sit very well with me. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll keep our powder dry for the moment, but it remains an option.
Anyway.
We
like to drink whiskey rather than fight over it, right? So here are the rather compelling breakdown for that vote. The votes. No votes, 5%. Second largest engagement. Sixth place, a stellar whiskey. We need to be drinking more of this. Benromac cask strength, 12%. A lot of people are trying to stay quiet on this one, thinking it's a sleeper and it's theirs and it's under. No, it's great whiskey and people are learning and hearing about it. Glen Scotia Victoriana, fantastic to see it still represented in the nominations this year after winning this category last year. Fifth place for Glen Scotia Victoriana. Lechic 18-year-old, one of Ralphie's favourites, one of my favourites.
Absolutely.
Great value. We can still pick this up in the UK for £85.
Lucky us.
I hope you get it at decent value where you are. Wonderful whiskey.
This is a whiskey, that particular Lechic 18, for the stash. Absolutely. Port Charlotte too.
Port Charlotte 10-year-old. It's made an entry. It's put a bid in the best value whiskey. But here it is in third place in best Scotch whiskey. When I called that the Guardian of Islay these days, I was serious. I think it's a genuine prospect for people who love heavily peated whiskey. Second place. Wow. Bunnahabhain Cask Strength have just released their third batch recently. It's gone down very, very well. Batch variation will be a thing on Bunnahabhain 12's cask strength releases annually. It's part of the celebration of it. It's part of what it is. It's going to be different each year, but there's been enough positive engagement with that to give it 20% of the vote. And here we are with 22% of the votes. And I realise here that I've not put the vote count in for this one. But, you know, just to be a completist, I'm going to tell you what that vote is tonight as I pull up the People's Choice vote. What do you think is of the vote split there, Ralphie? That's the cheapest, the most inexpensive whiskey winning tonight, £52 for that bottle.
Yeah, we're very fortunate with Scotch whisky in that the quality is not dictated by the price. For those prepared to make the journey, do the research, go online, join whiskey clubs, chat with whiskey enthusiasts, look at the videos, look at the blogs and vlogs and all the rest of it. There's plenty of information out there. You can very, very quickly, like never before in history, you can narrow down what are the best from the rest and then look at the prices and see what amazing access you can get to a tremendous world-class premium product that is not too harsh on your wallet unless you want it to be.
Yeah. I wanted to give the number because I've omitted it from that vote, but I would need to pull up the document. I'll publish it in the description below as soon as I get time to catch up with this thing, because I think it's important for people to be able to see that and see the number of votes that we counted. Anyway, here's how it was broken down. Top 10, this is what you voted for. This is interesting to me because this is like a top 10 hit list of good whiskies to drink. That's what it ends up being. What the Scotch whisky community is drinking. In 10th place, we've got Craigellachie 13. That was already mentioned. Second place, it got in the value whiskey. It's making it in the top 10 here at the end as well. In 9th place, we've got, again, Colquhoun Sanic that also made it in the opening category tonight. People are talking about this stuff and they want you to know about it as well. Finally, joint place. In 7th place, we've got a Springbank, another Campbelltown whiskey, this time the 15-year-old, climbing 2 places from 9th last year to join that Benromach cast strength that made it into the nominations this year. 3 out of the 4 whiskies we've shared are new entries. Watch this continue. As we go on to position 6, holding last year's position, the Springbank 12-year-old cast strength. Now, for me, it's difficult. It's heartbreaking for me because I can't remember the last time I was able to get hold of that. But they are still releasing as much, and if not even more. It will come back to us. Lefroyg's
eventually.
Yeah, Lefroyg's 10-year-old cast strength moving up a position.
Yeah.
So there's something happening here. There's lots of last year's variation slipped out of this chart. Lefroy cast strength. If you're going to drink an Islay whiskey, if you're going to drink a Lefroy, the only one I can point you towards with a guarantee that you're buying a good whiskey would be that 10-year-old cast strength, I would say. Kilkerran 16, a new entry, right in at number 4, another Campbelltown entry. I'm going to summarise this top 10 a wee bit at the end. It's super interesting to see. Port Charlotte's 10-year-old. It's slipped a wee bit from last year. You guys nominated this your number 1 pick. It slipped to number 3, making room for some other entries in 2023. Second place, backing up the nominations vote, Bunnahabhain 12-year-old cast strength, a new entry, a brand new entry. And at number 1, another brand new entry, another Springbank release, moving up from second place last year to first place this year. There is just so much variation, so much choice out there in Scotch whisky that this, I fully predict this will change year after year after year after year, significantly so.
And if you're fairly recently arrived in Scotch whisky and you're doing your research and making your inquiry, just look at this list. This isn't a list from experts. It isn't a list from Roy. It isn't a list from me. This is a list that has been made up of existing whisky enthusiasts who really know their stuff. And the fact is that pick any one of these whiskies, or as many as you can find, you've got your whisky collection off to a really 5-star start.
We have some stats that we want to share with you tonight because Ralfy and I feel that if we're going to generate data, why generate it if you're not going to use it? And why do we use this data? Because we need to verify the audience that's making these decisions, that's placing these votes, and that's making the recommendations to everybody else, all the while giving the industry feedback. Who are they? Well, we asked a few questions and I feel that these are interesting. So if you'll permit us another few minutes of your time, we'll share the answers to this survey with you right now before we finish up tonight. We asked the question, dear Online Scotch Whisky Awards community, how many bottles of whisky do you currently own? And they answered, they told us. Some, 7%, fewer than 10. 17.2% between 10 and 25. And 17% between 25 and 50. That's quite surprising to me because that means that the people who own between 50 and 100 take up 20% of the vote, with more than 100, 22% of the vote, and even 15% of people own more than 250 bottles of Scotch malt whisky, or let's say whisky, in order to participate in this. Our audience are impassioned whisky enthusiasts. You have to be to own bottles of that count.
And you, Roy, you're more than 250, aren't you? Be honest.
Don't clap on me. Don't tell tales. Yes. So, and I suspect, absolutely, I know for a fact that Ralfy's the same, but we have a very different position. The fact that so much of our community is in a similar position to us shows, especially when they're opening them and tasting them, how much they are able to learn from that. 4,552 respondents answered this question. Then we asked them, how many bottles of whiskies do you buy each year? More than 100 was small at 1.7%. But look at this, between 50 and 100, 17.2%. Between 25 and 50, still over 2 per month, 23.4%. And between 10 and 25 a month, that's 1 or 2 bottles, between 10 and 25 a year, 49.8%. That's between 1 and 2 bottles every single month. These are serious whiskey fans.
Yeah.
And who follow a very indulgent thing. And only 17% buy fewer than 10 a year. We are connecting with the right audience, and these stats show that. And we asked them how many bottles of whiskey do they consume each year. We wanted to give people the opportunity to tell fibs.
This is real anorak stuff, by the way. Please be patient.
Well, we asked if you're buying all these, are you drinking it? So some people were willing to admit that potentially this is quite scary to me. More than 100 bottles a year, 50 to 100 bottles a year. But nevertheless, these are the stats. Between 25 and 50 bottles, 10%. Between 10 and 25, 47.3%. I don't know where we would put ourselves here, Ralphie. I don't know. Because I guarantee you, whatever we would estimate would be less than what we actually are. If you add up the tastings and the everything else. That said, we always need to be a wee bit mindful of consumption.
But we're also, having said that, Roy, we're now at the position many whiskey drinkers are more than confident with proper sensible storage that an open bottle of whiskey can last a decade. If it's Kyer strength, if it's not been chill filtered, if it's not old and fragile and delicate and expensive, and if it's kept out of sunlight, if it's kept in cool storage, and if it's just checked now and again, it's amazing the shelf life of a bottle of whiskey.
Especially if you don't mind that it changes a wee bit while it's open too.
It's part of the joys, actually. And I've never seen a bottle yet that's got an expiry date.
Yeah.
It's not like a tin of beans.
The last question we asked, what do you think will happen to your purchasing of whiskey in the year ahead?
This will be interesting.
4.4% said they'd buy more. 47.1% said they'll buy about the same. 47% said I'll probably buy less. Now that's a big, big chunk. But what I'll say is that if I was in the whiskey industry looking in, and I'd be looking at that, this is still a very positive prospect. Half and half. Half say they're going to buy the same and half say they're going to buy less.
Yeah.
I suspect that the people who are saying, the majority of the people who say they're going to buy less are probably going to end up buying about the same or maybe even a wee bit more. Best intentions and all of that.
Yeah.
So our community, we are still fully engaged. We're still ready to buy this stuff. What we need to do is work together as a community to work out where the value is, where the quality is, where the flavour is. That's what we're very good at doing. And Ralphie and I have talked at length about how the fact it's not us telling you, it's a bi-directional thing. Our communities feedback to us regularly, and the OSWAs are probably the biggest single example of that. Remember, all the information that Ralphie and I have shared with you tonight is your information. It's not ours.
And there you have it.
An OSWAs.
Yeah.
For another year.
What, are we
off higher now?
Are we finished already? I tell you, I don't know about you folks, but time has flown for Roy and I. As happens every year, we have this kind of, we're watching the clock and then we run behind a little bit. But I'm sure you agree that to have a proper little interaction, at times a little bit cheeky, at times a little bit naughty, with our guests, with our contributors, with our nominations readers. It gives character and a little bit of signature to the OSWAs. But most importantly, it's you watching live with your dram in your hand, either on your own, with your friends, or with your whiskey clubs on locations. Give yourself a cheer.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We are not. If we were professional, if we were more professional than this, I think it'd be really suspicious. We are operating at the best of our ability with the free or close to free tools that we have, just to do the very, very best we can in order to have a positive impact on whiskey, because we just bloody love it so much, and that's the truth.
Well,
That's the absolute truth.
with the support and the encouragement of the online global Scotch whisky community. I think we're getting there, Roy, and I'm going to raise a glass here and toast
To
your good
everybody.
health. To everybody, to you, to us, to you, to everybody. Cheers, folks. It's been a joy connecting with you.
It has. I want to say just a wee last minute word for our pals, Rob Halford, for Chuck Watkins, for all the help that we couldn't have pulled this off tonight without
Take
him.
your time, because these guys have done so much. So much to support Roy in particular, to support the OSWAs. The quality of the social media has been fantastic. Just like previous years, guys, we really, really appreciate it. And we were determined, we discussed this at the beginning, that we were going to give you both a proper malt mention moment here on the OSWAs, as thank you for the phenomenal amount of work, particularly helping Roy with this number crunching.
All the assets, all the social media, everything.
All the social media.
So to
too.
Rob Halford in Yorkshire and to Chuck Watkins in Colorado, thank you both very, very much.
Absolutely, guys.
But more than anything, to 4,600 people that step forward to actually legitimately place a meaningful vote to help everyone out there and have a positive net contribution to whiskey. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank you all for joining in tonight. I want to thank you, Ralphie, for everything, all your positivity.
What? My what? Oh, when did I start that nonsense? And I want to thank you, Roy, for just doing all this anorak stuff and bringing people in and people going out, and then guests that were a wee bit late, but we fitted them in. I think everything's gone fine. If you think everybody's gone fine, please let us know. Leave a like, give us a heart, give us a thumbs up, because the OSWAs are all about democracy, and democracy is about the collective voice of the online community, because we will not and cannot be ignored.
If you like it, any feedback's welcome. And if you really like it, we'll be back next year.
Yes.
Sláinte
mhath.
Hey guys, Jeff from G Whiskey here. Just wanted to raise a glass in honor of the OSWAs today. The OSWAs, or the Online Squirrel Whipping Awards, I think are a great initiative, and I think I speak for everyone in the squirrel whipping community when I say this is long overdue. Honestly, I wish I'd thought of this myself, but cheers to Roger and Richie for putting this all together. Squirrels have been getting away with too much for too long, and I think it's time that we all collectively stood up and said enough is enough. You're getting whipped. So cheers to you guys. Keep on cracking those whips. It's thanks to you guys that these awards keep on growing every year. It's a wonderful movement, and I'm happy to be part of it. Finally, if you're a squirrel and you're watching this, get fucked. We're coming for you.